Happy Friday, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. 6 o'clock came a little early today. Felt like it crept up on us a little bit. It's been a long week, but a really, really good week. And couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you to all of you who are listening on your radio, on your smart speaker, on the Odyssey app. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Really appreciate all your support in that semi-new medium for us. Been at it about a year. I think we started it last spring training. So that community's grown a ton. So thank you very much. Just really appreciate you being here. There's a lot of choices in the morning, and a lot of you guys make us your first choice and your only choice. So we really, really appreciate it. Happy Friday to you, everybody. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning. Now, you said 6 o'clock crept up on us quickly this morning.
Yeah, I did.
Are we still dealing with the time difference from Arizona?
No, I just got I slept so well last night. I just got a bit of a late start. I also had to get gas. God, it's such a bad planning move yesterday, and had to get gas this morning, so I didn't get my full time to settle in and do all the things I normally do. So it's fine. It's fine. It's a Friday show. It's going to be loose. It always is. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, who is dressed to the nines today. Got a big luncheon.
Usually I'm dressed to about the twos.
You're usually about the I'd say threes, 3.5. You're dressed to the nines today.
Thank you.
You got a button down on,
Thank you.
a blue button down. You look very sharp, and you'll be hosting the Spirit of the Barrio Awards today. Lunch award? Are they awards?
It's a luncheon.
A luncheon.
Spirit of the Barrio luncheon.
I've never liked the word luncheon.
Luncheon. I thought you were going to say Barrio and we were going to get in trouble.
No, I love the word barrio. I can't stand the word luncheon. Would you guys like to come to a luncheon? I never liked it.
What about luncheonette? Like
No.
lunch counter?
No.
Just lunch.
Yeah.
You're okay with just lunch?
Yeah.
I'm hosting a lunch. I'm not really hosting a lunch. I don't provide the food in any way.
Now that would be an experience.
I've got to cater the whole thing
Just
for
make
everybody.
grilled cheeses for everyone.
No, tamales is always the same menu every single time.
Okay.
It's tamales for lunch. Said they were going to have close to 400 people.
Good God,
a little
man.
nervous now.
I would be too.
Yeah.
I would be too. That's a lot of people, my friend. And do you have a script yet?
I have a email that says my script is coming shortly, but I have not actually seen said script. So maybe I'll be winging it today.
That is one of the more nerve-wracking things about emceeing any event is the script and going through it. And, the other thing I've realized, we've both emceed things 100 times. I mean, so many times in my career in radio, emceed a ton of stuff. You do realize once you're up there, nope, nobody wants to hear from 15 guest speakers, and you want to try to keep it short. And I've been at some where I'm like, and then blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, I'm losing these people. I'm losing them. And then they say, well, be yourself, but don't miss things in the script either. It's difficult. It's difficult.
I will be emceeing opening day at RP Little League tomorrow.
I love it.
And all I have to do, that's a show and go kind of a thing.
That's good.
They give me the script,
Yep.
A couple people to introduce, and then it's the parade of Little League teams, and I will be reading off every name of every player on every team.
No way.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's got to be a few hundred kids, right?
Oh, yeah. It's easy. It's just like you'll stumble across a name. You're like, oh, God, how do I pronounce that last name?
Jackson Arnold. Jackson G.
It's going to be
Jackson.
Braylon, Caden, Micah. You should see that.
I did this last year, and I went ahead of time, and I was like, okay, I already know that this person who's like the vice president of the Little League, no idea how to say his name. I'm like, write it phonetically. Help me out here.
At the last Seals game I worked, there we do a hero of the game, and it was a little kid that had beaten cancer, but he had this very, very, very difficult to pronounce cancer, and I noticed it in the script. I went to Google. I had the pronunciation. And I wrote down phonetically. When the time came to say it, I literally was like, and suffered from, and I just mumbled it because I knew I was going to butcher it, and I did not want to do that. So yeah, man, I got Seals tomorrow night.
We all have Seals.
We all have Seals tomorrow night. This is going to be an interesting one, guys. If you are, you don't have any plans tomorrow night. Number one, Seals games are exceptionally fun. They're so fun, and the team is really, really good. The halftime show is going to be elite. We're going to have a whole section of Tier 1s there, giving away, I think we gave away 40 tickets or so. The other shows are helping us do that. But you can go get tickets at sealslax.com. And at halftime, you're going to see our own Ben Higgins in full NLL goalie gear with the stick, the helmet, the whole thing. And we're going
It's like catcher's gear on steroids.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's so big. And you're going to play goalie at halftime. And I think we're going to get some Tier 1s down there to pepper some shots at you and see how you do. Now, you're confident in your abilities. You said you're fairly flexible.
I'm not. I've never done it before.
Right.
So I'm not expecting to be great. But there's always the possibility that this was my calling and I never knew about it.
Yeah.
And like I'll get in there and I'll go, this is what I was actually born to do.
Like you hone in and everything slows down for you.
Right.
And you got the gear, so you feel safe and cozy in there.
I'll be deflecting
You got a
and
stick.
catching and moving.
Yeah.
And this is like, I mean, I have decent hand-eye coordination.
Sure.
So, and I'm a big enough guy that I feel like I'll take out those goals. They aren't that large. So I feel like I'll block a lot of the goal just with my size.
And the pads.
And the pads.
And the
yeah,
pads.
The extra area the pads take up. So I feel like I've got a good shot at keeping that ball out of the net.
Which would be amazing. That'd be amazing. I'm just excited to see you in the gear. And truth be told, like this isn't a bit to like make fun of Ben. I'm insanely jealous. I've always wanted to put the gear on, and I've never had a chance to. I've gotten to go down and throw on the field a little bit before, but I've never gotten a chance to put the gear on. So if you got nothing to do tomorrow night and you want to come see a really good game with some guys that play really hard, very high-paced, a lot of action, come on down to the game at Pechanga Arena. It starts at 7. SealsLax.com. Plenty of tickets for you. Go check them out. It's going to be amazing.
One thing I am concerned about is the visibility.
Oh.
Because the only mask I've ever worn really doesn't have any visibility at all.
Which was what?
It was the GIMP mask, and I could not see anything. So, and I know this one will have.
I got the GIMP mask if you want it.
This one will have eye slots of some sort where you can see out, but I can't imagine that you've got great peripheral vision.
I don't think it's too
with
bad.
A mask in front of your face.
I don't think it's too bad. Nobody's going to be trying to score on you from the sides. We're all going to be right in front. He's not going to want to mess his hair up. I wouldn't either.
No, I'm definitely not messing my hair up.
I think that you're going to do great. Well, all the shots will come from head on. So you're not going to have to be.
No one's going to be trying to sneak from the behind. I was excited about the old stop someone who's running around behind the net and
maybe
kind of reach back.
Maybe
because there's different ways you can
really
still. Paul, you look good. Yeah,
thing.
it's poor visibility in that mask. It really is.
You can't. I should start sleeping.
Like
with that,
if a catcher wore that as a catcher's mask, there'd be a lot of pass balls.
If you put this on before bed, you'd fall right asleep.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. Brian wants to know where the best seats are. Man, they're all pretty good. I'd say lower.
Not too low, not too high.
Yeah, not too low, not too high. Middle, lower level, middle is good. I like sitting I get to be in the penalty box, so I'm right on the glass. But there are things I have to kind of crane my neck to see down the other end of the floor.
A little too low for you sometimes.
Yeah, I've got a monitor, so it helps, but you guys will not have a monitor. But come out. It's also Every Children Matters night, too, which is really the most important part of it.
Every Children Matters?
Sorry, Every Child Matters, not Every Children. Jesus, Every Child Matters. Like I said, it's a rough morning already. A little bit slow moving.
Such a rookie maneuver.
It really is.
To need to get gas on the way to this job.
And you know me.
You've got to get it done the day before. The last thing you want to wake up and you realize, I have to add a gas trip on my way to work.
Got all the way down to 14 miles left, and I went, I got to get gas. So I did. But no, would love to see you guys out there tomorrow night. Should be a fun one. I love the fact that we get to hang a little bit tomorrow. I'll, of course, be in the box calling the game, and you guys can be hanging with the Tier 1s until it's time to get you down on the field.
Well, this isn't good. My mother just texted. She says, I've been watching my nephew, Wes, play lacrosse for a couple of years now, and she says, I'm pretty worried for you.
No, he probably plays outdoor.
He does, yes.
Okay, so those goalies have no pads.
Yeah.
Like almost none.
This is like hockey goalie plus pads.
Oh, it's so big. It's so, text,
the
her,
other players-
text her a picture of a NLL goalie.
Okay.
Send her a bouquet because he's like
Yeah, I
really
remember
wide.
him. I went to that game. He's
Yeah.
the Canadian guy,
Yeah.
a huge guy.
He's the huge guy. So Kim, first of all, it's going to be Tier 1 shooting. I'm not going to have Wes Berg out there ripping 140-mile-an-hour balls at you. It's going to be Tier 1 shooting. They may not know what they're doing, but we're just going to get some shots on goal. I may take a couple rips. Won't hurt you.
Don't you have a microphone?
I'll have a
shoot
mic.
with a mic?
I can put it on the ground for a sec.
Okay.
I'll hold it for a second.
Paulie, hold it. Yeah, perfect. Paul, you call the action. Yeah.
I'm also going to be down.
Paulie's going to be down with video. Paulie's going to be down there shooting video. It's going to be epic. So we hope to see you guys out there.
What time does the game start?
7 o'clock.
7. Okay.
I would get there, I'd get there 6:30 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be there for the open. And, hey, you get to watch your boy in action tomorrow
I love
night.
watching you in
it's
action.
It's going to be
love
nuts.
watching Woods in action.
It's going to be nuts. Excited for tomorrow night. So that's what we've got planned. I got T-ball practice tonight. I got to tell you, the T-ball moms are very into multiple practices a week. And my wife keeps saying, were you ever very passive aggressive in my house the last 2 days? Hey, did you think you were ever gonna do a practice of any sort? Yeah, I'm looking for fields. There's no availability, as I've mentioned several dozen times. They're fixing one field. There's other leagues that get priority because we hit off a tee, and we don't keep score. So we're kind of the bottom of the barrel, babe. As I've mentioned several times. Ooh, okay, because I've gotten 4 messages from 4 different moms all wondering when the practices are. Oh, okay. Well, as I've mentioned to all of you guys, we have a field shortage, and I'm trying to get it done. And
are you just not signing up soon enough? Like
no,
when the sign-up's open, they all fill up, and by the time you get there, it's like there's nothing left.
they're all taken. The one field we used to practice on, they're redoing it. So I made special plans. We're going to go to the community park, get a practice in for the love of God. And you wonder why these kids burn out on T-ball so early and baseball so early. It's because of, T-ball moms. I just said, listen, yesterday I was driving home again because I got another message, and I told her, I said, well, I'll be home soon. Let's go over some strategy for how we want to attack the game next week when we have our first game. Like, what do you think the optimal lineup should be? So if it was up to her, they'd be practicing 5 days a week.
The Padres are in Peoria right now.
Yeah.
Petco Park should be open. Should we try to pull some strings and see if we can get you some practice time out on that field?
Now, you know what? Dub just nailed it. They want me. They want me to be childcare. They want an hour of peace. And I understand that. They want to come and they want to drop the kids off. All right, see you in an hour. And I'm the babysitter for an hour.
They don't leave, do they?
No, they hang out. But I mean, I think
they
they're
bring a beach chair and a book.
sipping on margaritas and stuff off
relax,
to the
yeah.
side and relax. You know how it goes. But they want me to.
But you're doing all the
Yeah, I'm doing all the coaching.
entertaining of the children the entire time.
That's exactly right. That's what they want. They want 3 to 4 practices a week, not
Exhaust them a little bit so
they
they
wear 'em out.
tired and go
Yeah.
to bed
Oh, yeah.
early that night. It's a win-win for parents.
we're talking about practice here, and we're talking about
Not a game.
we're talking about T-ball.
Not a game.
That's me. We're talking about T-ball.
practicing for something where you
T-ball.
don't keep score.
T-ball. We're talking about T-ball. Not baseball, not coach pitch,
Not the
not
game that
machine
I
pitch,
love.
not the game that I love. We're talking about T-ball. That's me to my wife yesterday. My assistant coach and assistant manager, my wife. So yeah, that's what we've got tonight at 5 p.m. We're gonna do a.
Does she coach third as
No,
well?
she doesn't. No, she sits over there and drinks margaritas with her friends, and I get to watch the kids. So that's what that is. But we do have the home run derby tomorrow, so we got to practice for that. So we'll be out there running around. It's going to be a very.
I see a lot of home runs in T-ball.
So they do. You got to hit it 60 feet as a home run.
60 feet.
In the ground, on the ground is fine.
Not
In
60
the
feet,
air,
6 inches,
No,
60 feet.
60 feet's a home run. So yeah, we're gonna go run practice this afternoon. So really looking forward to that.
Seems like you're setting them up for false hope.
How so?
Giving them like a 60-foot grounder and calling it a home run.
Yeah,
Kid's
no.
gonna go to school on Monday and be like, I hit 14
14 home runs.
Like,
Nah, not really, Playboy. Not really at all. There's really it's hard to lift the ball off the tee, so I don't really blame them. And I really don't want them swinging that way.
Gravity's working against you in this situation.
And the bats swing them.
And they're 6.
They're so little, the bats swing them. You know what I mean? They can't, it's really sweet. So we'll have fun tonight, get our tee work in, and then we'll have the Seals game tomorrow night. So we got a lot going on. Ben's got the spirit of the bar. A lot of good potential content ideas for Monday. Got a lot going on this weekend.
But first, we've got 3 hours and 45 minutes left on a Friday. Should be a good show. We'll hand out the menus, give you an idea of what's coming up when we return. It is Ben and Woods. Glad to have you with us. We're at the end of the week. The weekend is within sight, within reach, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Kelly is standing by with a check of traffic, and we are off and running on this Friday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Just had one of our promos during the break from our new friend, Rob Bradford, host of the Baseball Isn't Boring Odyssey podcast.
Nice
we
fellow.
met out in Peoria this week. Was a nice fellow, but Paulie, and you commented on the fact that he held his microphone way down low.
Like an extension of his wiener. That's how low it was.
Not where you're so for the untrained in radio, microphone should be about a karate chop, palms distance away from where you are speaking. Now, we understand the players are very hard to manage when it comes to holding their own microphone.
They're going to do what they're going to do.
They're
They're
gonna
going to do, and they all have different styles. Some just kind of very casually hold it way down low, like Rob did.
It gives me anxiety. Tom Cosgrove was a low holder. That gave me anxiety because I'm like, can people hear this?
I will sometimes give one indication, but if they
of these
once it's happening and they're not moving it, I'm not going to just continue to harp on them.
This
the
is
entire
the one
time.
This is the one I'll do. Up,
raise it up
Not,
here.
I don't like to do this.
Joe Musgrove holds it. He's very close. He holds the top.
He wraps the top like this.
Top of the
Yeah,
microphone.
man. I'm just gonna go out there and kick ass, and let's kick some ass
Like
this
a
year.
rapper coming out on stage.
Yeah. He grabs the very top of it and cups it, palms it gently in his hand, and he's good. People are gonna be able to hear him. But some of them, when they sit down. And it's basically like if they were doing, hey, this is my pretend wiener, it's right down here by their crotch.
What do you think the purpose of the microphone is?
It's there to amplify your voice.
It's just a prop to make you feel comfortable.
Right.
While you're sitting there here, hold this while we do an interview
While we
with you.
play radio.
You guys have all seen singers. You guys know what music is, yes? You don't ever see
At the concert.
You don't see the guy come out with a mic down by his wiener. Yo, good morning, everybody. I said maybe. It just doesn't. You see them. They all hold it up to their mouth. I know that you're familiar with this. I know you are.
We've all seen how microphones work, yet it does seem like a foreign concept.
It's
to
every
a lot of
time
them.
when it'll start maybe here, and then it'll start dropping down by the end. They're like, no, I'm just going to try to go up.
And those things are heavier than you think, so maybe they're just their arms are getting tired.
It kills me,
It was too late. The last day towards the end of the show. Actually, it was exactly towards the end of Wednesday's show at spring training when I was packing up what I could before the end of the show. And I realized we do have a mic stand. I'm bringing that next time. I'm making sure we bust it out because that way they don't hold the microphone. It forces them to be up close next to it.
What if we gave them one of the headsets
headset?
with the microphone that's
They
right
can't
in
get
front
away
of
from
They can't
it
get
in that
away.
sense. That's what we use throughout the show, so we don't have to hold
Let's
the
get an
microphone
extra
the
one
whole
of
time.
those, and then we just really make it easy. Mac Free in the chat says, Woods mentioned to Musgrove the Padres were heading to Korea next Thursday. Did he mean the following
He meant
Thursday?
the following-
the
following week.
following Thursday. They're going to be there, Mac.
2
So you're all
weeks
good,
from
buddy.
yesterday.
2 weeks from yesterday, they're leaving.
You
So
know,
if
I
you're going
remember-
out next week, you're good.
I remember that moment, and I thought I could jump in and just correct Woods, but there's no reason to correct your co-host.
what did I say?
You said next Thursday, and it was 2 weeks away. When,
my bad.
When they
I think
did it.
I
And
said it too. I think somebody told us next Thursday, and we just ran with that on
they
accident.
still have another full week next week in Peoria, and then the middle of the following week is when they get on their plane for Korea. They play the game on the 13th, I think Mike Schilt told us, and then right after that game, they depart. He thinks from Phoenix Airport, and they fly all the way to Korea, 14-hour flight. I would assume then they have a recovery 24 hours where they can try to adjust to the time change and everything. MLB has set up some events in terms of, public relations and cultural stuff. They're going to play 2 exhibition games against Korean teams, including, I think, against Ha-Sung Kim's old team, while they're in Seoul before the games against the Dodgers. And then the last things they do are the 2 games against the Dodgers on the last 2 days of their trip. And then as soon as they finish that second game, back on the plane and fly back to San Diego to get ready for the home opener the following week.
Well, that's their menu, Benny. What is on our menu?
Our
for the
menu.
day?
Well, it'll start kind of like it usually does. We'll go through what happened yesterday in Peoria at spring training. Padres are on a little bit of a hot streak
Little
now.
heater.
A little hot streak in the Cactus League. We'll talk about who stood out in yesterday's game. There's one player who may have been rope-a-doping us a little bit early in spring training.
Potentially.
We'll talk about that coming up. 7 o'clock hour, we will finally bring back, first time in a while, Take on Woods is going to happen at 7:10 today. Last, I believe, chance to qualify for this month's, even though it is March 1st now. On a Friday, we'll wrap up our qualification for the getaway to Las Vegas. And the Air Supply tickets, don't do this, as always, at 7:20. At 7:35, we've got a guest on that I honestly don't know how this is going to go. It is someone who was recommended to us by one Mark Mud Grant.
I'll be 100% honest with you. That's why we're having him on, because Mud recommended it. If Mud didn't recommend it,
you
I'd be
should
like,
talk to
know.
this guy.
Talk to this guy.
We get pitched a lot.
We get pitched a lot of stuff.
A lot of different people.
And I'll tell you, man, I'll be brutally honest. I think this is a very odd concept that they've created. I do. I want to know more about it, though. I'm interested in hearing more about it. The guy's name is Rob Connolly, CEO and founder of Finleet. And I know there's been an initiative the last few years, Ben, to help out minor leaguers. And there have been. Like, our guys, who does the podcast? Donovan and Roy. What's their podcast called? Friars on the Farm? They really made it an initiative of theirs to help out minor leaguers in the Padres organization, like with gift cards and, hey, if you want to donate to get them fed. It ain't easy in the minor leagues. It's just not. This is a different way to do that, and you invest in the players, but you get like shares of it. It seems a little odd. I get it.
Let me just play you a minute.
Okay, play me a minute.
Like a 4-minute video.
Get everybody
tease it for us here.
Tease me up.
We created Finleet with a vision. A vision to change the sports landscape for both fans and athletes. In the minor leagues, where dreams are always big, but resources are often limited, we saw athletes struggling to find the capital they needed to maximize their on-the-field potential without falling prey to loan sharks and private hedge funds. This is why hundreds of prospects sign future earning deals with one private equity firm at unfair and low valuations.
Seen that?
We wanted to pave a new path, a path where athletes could maximize their on-the-field potential and build their careers on their terms. And for the fans, we wanted to offer them more than just a spectator seat. We want to give them a real stake in their favorite athlete's journey.
So interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the reference he made is to a company called Big League Advance, which has been involved with players, including our own Fernando Tatis Jr., in which when they are young minor leaguers who haven't made a lot of money yet, they will like float them some money up front, but it comes with a big cost at the back end, like a percentage of their earnings if they make it big the rest of their career. That's how that company makes their money. Rob at Finleet says maybe there's a better way to do it. It feels like a crowdsourcing way. Now, I have no idea. If you invest in players, are you going to get rich out of it? Are you going to maybe make a little bit? If it goes well and you're kind of invested in the success, you've got someone to root for, like, hey, I've got a little bit of a stake in this guy, almost like it's a fantasy athlete for real.
It's kind of cool. Like, when I think about it, it's kind of cool. I'm excited to talk to him. Question. Out of the three of us, we all agree, Paulie and I would be the 100% would have signed with the give us the money up front, we'll pay on the back end. 100%. We totally would have done that.
100%.
No question. Right? You would not have.
I probably would not have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it just seems unfair that it's like in perpetuity. I get it. I mean, it's a decent concept to begin with. It's a loan.
It's a loan.
And if they don't make it big, I don't think they have to pay it back, so there is risk that Big League Advance is taking on in this endeavor. But no one should ever end up, hey, if you give me $500,000 now, I make 10% of what you make for the rest of your career, which ends up being $100 million. That's not really a fair loan that you have to pay it back 200 times or more what they gave you to begin with.
Yeah, it's a little bit
usury.
Predatory.
It's not
usury.
good.
I like that. Yeah.
So, we'll talk to Rob Connolly and we'll learn more.
I'm
about
excited.
This.
Rob's a really good guy.
We're not being paid to do this.
Nope.
We're not endorsing it
Nope.
in any way. We're just curious about it because of the recommendation from one Mud Grant. So that'll be at 7:35. Second half of the show, continue our Tier 1 tour. We're in the AL Central, the Detroit Tigers, today's team, as we count our way down to opening day. Check in with Sammy spring training. Sam Levitt, although he took the afternoon off yesterday, didn't go to the game.
Good for him,
But
man.
Mike Schultz will be up and running early this morning. There could always be news from the Peoria Sports Complex. Ryan will report, and we will wrap things up for the week.
And we've got an update on Adam Klug.
Oh.
Our boss.
Wow.
Oh,
We may need to get to that right away next.
oh my God, you guys.
From yesterday's expense account discussion and what the company will and will not pay for from our trip to Peoria, the Airbnb fiasco, major update from our boss, Adam Klug. So we can get to that coming up next, and then we'll get into yesterday's game against the A's and Padres news coming up here on a Friday morning. Stick around for more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. For the latest Padres news, try listening to chapters from the show. Every day we break down the topics into different little segments, and you can find what matters most to you. To get started, just download the Odyssey app. For instance, if you the thing that mattered to you most was whether or not we got reimbursed for our expenses. The discussion we had in our final hour yesterday with our boss, Adam, you could go back on the chapters feature to yesterday, or you can listen right now because we're going to actually give you the conclusion, the denouement of the story, as it were.
I never heard that word before. Denouement.
Denouement?
Denouement.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's like the conclusion.
Why don't you just say conclusion?
Dramatic finish. You're the English major.
I've never heard of that word.
Denouement.
Denouement?
Denouement.
Spell it.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Deneumot, I think. Denouement.
Denoouement. The final part of a play, movie, or narrative in which the strands of the plot are drawn together and matters are explained or resolved.
That's what we're doing right now.
Very appropriate
with our expense account story.
Yeah, well, I got a so we had Adam on yesterday, and he was breaking my balls a little bit. Why should Odyssey have to pay? And then I screamed at him, "Why should I have to pay?" Right? It's trying to get in, get a place to stay, and get up and do a good job. I think we did, and so we leave, and I said, "What I want from you is to tell me." You expense it, I'll chase the money. So he said, you expense it, I'll chase the money. I said, great, thanks. I leave here. Before I got home, before I touched ground at Casa de Woods yesterday, I get this from Adam. I got the full refund from Ron. You can submit for reimbursement due charges from your credit card. Please make sure to note that the charges are from spring training for accounting purposes. He called Ron.
Like all the hotel rooms.
He got every single hotel room. Just spoke to Ron. He will pay for all 3 rooms. You got to give credit where credit is due.
Did he threaten to break legs, or what was going on here? How did he do that so easily?
He's 5'3". Like, who's going to be afraid of him?
I mean, he could send someone bigger.
He could, like a henchman.
Yeah.
But I really think he dangled a bad review, which, by the way, I mean, if you're an Airbnb user, you can't have that.
You can't afford a bad review.
You cannot afford a bad review.
That's how you differentiate between the Airbnbs, the reviews.
That's exactly right. And so,
are you going to sign up for a 2.5-star Airbnb? You
would, but I would not. You would definitely do it to save $1, but he's not going to do that. And so he called and he got it all back. And he said, yeah, just go ahead and submit it. And I said, you are a marvel. There's an art form to that. I don't have it. I give up too easily. I just say, you know
what? Screw it.
I'll just pay it. I'm not going to hassle with it. Haggling is not my strong suit. I don't like to haggle.
So ultimately, and you took the initiative. You went in and booked the hotel rooms, and it's going to pay off for you because not only are you reimbursed, but you get to keep all of the hotel points as well.
I get the Discover card, like the points for that. The cash back, which is great. And then I get the Hilton points on my Hilton account. So suck it. Win, win, win for me. It's great. I rarely come out on top, so I'm pretty happy about this.
Next fantasy camp, maybe you can stay at a Hilton.
Potentially. And he's going to say, well, hey, next year, hey, you know all those points you got? Can you just use those for fantasy camp? So maybe, it's going to end up costing me anyway.
He's playing 4-dimensional chess.
He really is. I should have had him ask Ron. Also, my host left some expensive joggers there and a T-shirt. I'm going to need an additional $150 on top of that. I decided not to press my luck on that, though. So he did get the money back, dude. The guy he's a beast. He is a beast. He's going to buy my next car for me, as a matter of fact. I'm going to send him with my credit card and just say, here, do your best.
Manny said, I won't know what hit him.
He will not know. Manny will be like, I give up. Uncle, just take it. Take the thing.
I'm buying a new car next month.
Send Adam.
Adam's coming with me.
Here is my negotiator, Adam Klug.
I'll be in the car. Just let me know what we decide.
I'm just gonna go grab lunch.
Hey,
Adam, you take care of it. He's my agent. Here's what I want. Make it happen.
Your payments are $114 a month. Like, well, how much down? Nothing. Oh my God. He's a wizard. Michael was so happy when that Adam walked
Adam's
in.
getting a new corner office.
Adam walked in yesterday, probably poked his head in and goes, I got it. Don't worry about it. What a closer.
And we got
It's done.
It's done.
We got a nice email from Michael later in the day. It might not have been as nice had we not gotten the full reimbursement there, but
That's exactly
appreciate
right.
it.
Is it extra sweet because this is against the Dodgers?
Yeah. Is it extra sweet because I got all that money back and then some? Just a brilliant
So,
man.
on National Employee Appreciation Day, we feel appreciated.
Thank
you very much.
Very, very much.
All right, let's get into the Padres. We'll check traffic, let you know what happened yesterday out in Mesa, Arizona. Coming up here with Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by California Coast Credit Union. The greater part of San Diego looking okay, guys, but I got to let you know about the situation. If you happen to be heading into the Riverside area, northbound side of the 15 Rainbow Valley, multi-vehicle accident that happened around 4:45 this morning has still got all northbound lanes shut down. Traffic is squeezing by on the right shoulders. So, yeah, give yourself plenty of extra time if that is your route. Northbound side of the 15 Rainbow Valley. On the southbound side, that fast lane is blocked. I'll let you know when that reopens. With MasterCard local Cal Coast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with Cal Coast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at participating businesses. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Let's start with a nice bounce-back performance by Pedro Avila after he struggled in his first Cactus League outing. Went 3 innings yesterday against the Oakland A's in Mesa. Did give up a first-inning solo home run to Zach Geloff, but came back after that and looked pretty sharp. Got good reviews from the skipper, who liked the movement on his fastball, liked just the demeanor out there by Pedro Avila. Keeps himself, I think, in the race for one of those final 2 starter spots. He did a really nice job last year down the stretch when the Padres were decimated by starting pitching injuries. He stepped up in a big way with the swing roll and then moving into the starting rotation at the end of the year. Cannot take away what he did in 2023, even though the season was disappointing. It was a nice step forward for Pedro Avila last year, and the start yesterday. Again, it's the A's, and take that with a grain of salt, but a good 3 innings and something he kind of needed this spring.
Big time, Benny, and it's important to note that Pedro Avila is out of minor league options. So that's a guy that is pitching for a spot, and he doesn't want to get DFA. I don't know that we're in a position to DFA
right. It
guys.
Increases the likelihood that one way or another
he's going to be
long
there.
man, swing man,
Yeah.
starter. That they're going to want to get him on that roster so they don't have to give him to someone else.
100%. I mean, I don't know that we have enough depth to get rid of a guy that has been successful at that level, spring struggles notwithstanding. And it was a nice bounce back from him, certainly. Went 3 innings. And when we talked to the skipper at dinner, he talked about quality innings, quality innings. And that's really what this team is on the hunt for right now, is guys that can go out and give you quality innings, because he made no bones about it. We've made no bones about it. There's a buttload of quality innings that they're going to have to replace this year.
Some offense in the 4th inning. Luis Camposano and Kyle Higashioka with back-to-back RBI doubles, catching and designated hitting. Campy's was a home run in, I think, every big league ballpark. Just in spring training, they've got the big wall batter's eye that's on the field, but it was like 411 feet and up high in the air, a long way out. He really crushed that one. So the Padres tweeted out a highlight, and I thought we talked to just about everyone. It felt like we touched in one way or another most of the guys who were on the roster, and they go, "Oh, big GP with a big hit," and I go, "GP? Who's GP?" And I was just sitting there for 10 minutes going, "Who's GP?" And finally, Graham Pauly had 2 hits yesterday in the game. I just could not come up with that one yesterday, but not a guy we have talked about much in the first couple of weeks of spring, but certainly one of those guys that is looking to make an impression and fighting for potentially a spot on the roster, if not now, at some point later in the season.
And learning a new position amidst all of this, playing first base. But yeah, he was 2 for 3, a double, a triple, a run scored, 2 RBI. Swing looks awesome. I mean, it looks really, really good. So I have no idea which of these guys is going to break camp with the team, if any. I just don't know. I'm not 100% certain on Jackson Merrill even breaking camp with the team. I just don't know. I don't know how the quality of ABs has been. I just have no idea. And I don't know that he's ready. I don't know that he's not. So all these guys are trying to make a push, and again, something to get a little excited about. Some of these guys producing in these games. I don't know how much you can read into it.
After Avila, we saw Enyel de los Santos,
Not good so far.
who has struggled a bit during the spring, only went 2/3 of an inning, gave up a couple of runs and 3 hits. Padres, it was an interesting trade. It was cost-cutting.
Yep.
But you can also see what Enyel de los Santos has done the last couple of years and be excited about his potential. But they gave up Scott Barlow, who was
Straight up.
a proven late-inning guy, to save some cash and go with the younger controllable option in Enyel de los Santos. If that doesn't work out, that trade doesn't look so good. If Barlow has a good season and de los Santos doesn't, that's something you've got to evaluate, where cost-cutting can end up coming back to bite you in the rear end.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 3 more years. We're controllable for 3 years. Again, it's spring training, could be working on something, find the slot, whatever it is. It hasn't been a good spring for him yet at this point, but, again, with 3 years of control, I think they're going to give him a little bit of leeway to work it out.
And then, surprise, surprise, we got our first sighting of Cactus League ball from Woo-Suk Go, Padres' new reliever from Korea. And we talked about it a little bit, that word on the street, just kind of early in spring, was, don't know how he looks out there. It's been a bit of a slow start on the backfields and on the mounds, and we're just not sure if that what he did and so successful in Korea is going to translate. And we still don't know the answer to it. But in his first appearance against semi-big league batters in a Cactus League game, Woo-Suk Go looked very good. Pitched an inning, struck out 2, gave up a 2-out hit, but left him stranded. Got to be a very big confidence boost to the Padres' new reliever in his first appearance in the big leagues.
Yeah, for sure, man. I feel, maybe he was just take some time to adjust the different ball. I had talked to a couple of guys and they said, yeah, his curveball's not super sharp. We're trying to get him to throw his curveball a little bit more because it can be a pretty nasty pitch for him. Just a matter of feeling comfortable. He was pretty funny after the game. He said he blacked out, just completely blacked out. Said he was nervous as hell and just completely blacked out on the mound.
Was excited to get swing and miss on his fastball,
Yeah.
I think, which is not an overpowering fastball, but he had good command. Slider was good, threw the curveball. It was a good confidence building first outing
100%.
for Woo-Suk Go. And it was pointed out that while most of the Padres, especially the ones who are coming back, their season ended early in October, no playoffs. Woo-Suk Go pitched deep into November,
Yeah.
the KBO season, and they won the championship for his team. Their whatever World Series, whatever they call it, didn't end until like mid-November, and he closed out the final game. So he was essentially pitching much later than any Major League Baseball player was pitching last year. Even, Texas Rangers and Arizona Diamondbacks were done by the first day or so of November. He was pitching 2 weeks after that, still in the season. So he had a shorter offseason, a quicker turnaround. That can maybe affect the start of your spring training as well. So keep that in mind as you evaluate Woo-Suk Go early here still in spring training.
Yeah, 100%, man. But let's see. Who else got in yesterday? Kevin Kopps.
Kevin Kopps got a
frame.
save, yeah.
Yep, scoreless frame from him. Morihone threw yesterday as well. Had a scoreless frame as well, so it's great. That's great.
Today, the Padres will play their two and only split squad games. Got half the team will head to Maryvale to take on the Brewers. Half the team will remain in Peoria to take on the Angels. Jairo Iriarte will get the start against Milwaukee. Randy Vasquez will get the start against the LA Angels. As we've seen, most of these guys now trying to throw 3 innings. That's been basically the buildup for the starters. And, there's only limited opportunities for starters, so you can kind of see who's in the mix. I mean, Avila, Waldron, Iriarte, Vasquez. I don't know that Drew Thorpe is in the mix. We haven't seen him go full 3. It feels more like they're getting him ready to start in the minor leagues. And, he could be brought up at some point later in the season, but you've got obviously Joe and you've got you and you've got Michael King. And then there's another group, Brito, Vasquez, Iriarte, Waldron, Avila, who seem like they're competing for those last 2 spots. And right now the competition seems very even among all of them.
Yeah, it's
very even.
Pretty fierce, man. I mean, if you don't slot right into the rotation, you mentioned the piggyback scenario. I think that's I think that's very much in play right now. If the Padres don't go out and get another starting pitcher, and I just have heard no buzz really at all. Tommy Pham's been the only name, and he's not a pitcher, but of guys that they're interested in potentially bringing in. And I don't know how much smoke there is around that. I just don't know what they're planning to do. But our buddy Mike just tweeted, based on your theory of A.J. Preller wanting to see what he's got before he pulls the trigger, where do you think they stand on that? I mean, there's still, in my opinion, there's still some holes, and there are still some places you can upgrade right now.
Yeah, I mean, no one, Jackson Merrill has looked confident. He was out in center yesterday, didn't really get a ton of chances, had one nice play where he came in, didn't get a hit, but I would say he's the front runner now, probably to start in center field on opening day. Which, if that doesn't mean you don't need another outfielder, though. But I still say the amount of innings, and talking to Mike Schultz, the amount of innings that they have to replace from last season, pitching remains to me.
Yeah.
If they're going to go out and get someone else, it's still maybe going to be a pitcher. There's just not much out there. Michael Lorenzen,
Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell.
But I don't know that they're going that expensive. All right, we'll play some Take on Woods, hour number 2 of Bennett Woods next here on a Friday on The Fan. 7 a.m. Friday morning. Take on Woods is just around the corner. 833-288-0973 if you want to join us, play our game. Qualify for that trip to Las Vegas in just a couple of minutes. It's been a week since we've had a Take on Woods.
Dude,
Put it on hiatus while we were in Peoria, and we had Real or Fake yesterday. So
A little rusty.
yeah, we'll see. This could be an opportune time to try to get Woods. He's forgotten all of his musical knowledge
Everything.
in the last few days.
All of it.
Or not. We'll see. We just brought up, where if the Padres are going out, we talked about this yesterday,
Talk about it every
and
day.
they're still going to spend some money, and we don't know if they are or they are not, but they have money to spend and could still stay under the luxury tax. Will they go out and get a pitcher? Paulie brought up earlier in the week, is there any chance the price tag for Blake Snell has come down with the way the market is shaping up, that they could still make a run to bring him back? And have that audio of John Heyman discussing what maybe adjustment and expectations Blake Snell is making now that we've got to March and he still has not signed with a big league team. Here's what John Heyman had to say.
A couple days ago with Blake Snell, as I reported in the New York Post, Snell is willing to do one of those Bellinger-type deals, short-term deal with opt-outs. They did talk to the Yankees about this, so I'm sure they're willing to do it with other teams as well. And, I think it does make sense for them, a high AV with opt-outs. The issue for the Yankees with a short-term deal is the high AV means a higher tax. That's really the big issue, but certainly if you give them opt-outs after year one, and opt-out after year one, and you've given up draft choices to sign him, that isn't a question as well.
Of course, that problem for the Yankees, the high AV, the AAV, average annual value, that is how they calculate your luxury tax payroll, would also be the exact same, and if not a bigger problem for the San Diego Padres, who are closing in on that level. You can lower the luxury tax number by extending out a deal more years.
Yeah, of course.
So, hey, we're going to pay you $200 million, but if we do it over 15 years, it's going to be a lower AAV and lower luxury tax number than if we did it over, say, 8 years. Kind of what the Padres did with Xander Bogaerts, a little bit with Manny Machado as well. Hey, you're going to get what you're going to get. You're going to make what you're going to make. But if you extend it out a little bit, it helps us avoid some luxury tax payments now. So if Blake Snell is willing to do the shorter deal with the opt-out, great. But that does not help the Padres avoid the luxury tax at all. In fact, it actually makes it harder to sign him and stay under a luxury tax number. Now, it releases you from any future commitments. It's a benefit in many ways to a team to sign a guy to a shorter-term deal. Some of the risk, a lot of the risk that comes with injuries for a pitcher can be mitigated, but with the salary cap or the set luxury tax cap, doesn't help at all. In fact, it hurts to sign that short-term deal.
Got some breaking news in baseball. I'm a little bit confused, though. Talkin' Baseball just tweeted, C.J. Cron is headed to Boston, but it is a picture of Brandon Drury. So that's Brandon Drury, 100%.
I'm guessing that someone just put the wrong picture up, and C.J. Cron, who was still on the free agent market.
Yeah, Red
former
Sox.
Colorado
Red Sox.
Rocky.
Chris Cotillo just tweeted Red Sox in agreement with C.J. Cron, minor league deal, but if he ends up on the team, there could be some upside as a right-handed hitter. Negative .5 F.WAR last season, hit 57 homers combined with an average 113 weighted runs created plus between 21 and 22. So, yeah, that was another name that I think a lot of Padre fans were talking about, too, as a guy that could play first, maybe platoon with a Jake Cronenworth, and now he's off the board with a minor league
gamble.
Deal. Yeah, I mean,
is
it it's a minor league deal? How big of a gamble is it?
You could but in terms of if you're counting on him to produce for you, right. You can't guarantee that coming off his injuries. And by the way, as Padres fans, we remember all the times that C.J. Cron just mashed against the Padres. He didn't do that against every other team all the time. We just have bad memories of him and think, well, if he just does what he did against the Padres and that'd be golden. Then we'd take that every time. When does that ever happen, that the guy who mashes against the Padres then joins the Padres and does the exact same thing?
No, it goes the other way.
No,
it goes the other way.
Then they stop
Has it ever
producing.
happened?
Yeah.
So I was never too much on the C.J. Cron train. I think Brandon Belt is a much better option.
But then you got
more expensive, but better option than the C.J. Cron.
Then you got two left-handed first basemen in Jake Cronenworth and Brandon Belt, but one of those guys could DH as well. One of those, get those guys off their feet, whatever. But yeah, I'm again like something needs to happen in my opinion, because if these guys are signing minor league deals, there's really no reason to not take a chance on some of these guys. I don't know what Brandon Belt is asking right now. I imagine the price keeps going down, but good to see some movement, right? Good to see some movement in Major League Baseball, if anything. And Red Sox trying to improve their roster. They're pretty much slated for a last place finish right now. I don't know how much he's going to help, but you never do know. You never do know.
Do you think that, I know it's just one more day, but the fact that the calendar changed from February to March is going to play on the minds of some of these players who are free agents and set it in their mind. I can be strong. I can be patient. I want to get the best deal.
I'll ride it out through February and Leap Day.
I'm not going to rush into it.
Time to rush.
It's still February. The season doesn't start for another few weeks. Unless I sign with the Padres or Dodgers, opening day isn't for another 4 more weeks. I'm okay. Once you hit March, though, and you go, there are real games this month.
Oh, yeah, 3 weeks.
And we're getting closer, and I'm still not on a team, especially if you're a pitcher. And I'm sure guys like Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell are throwing on the side and trying to, build up some stamina. But there's no way they can prepare adequately for the season without being in spring training with their new club. There's a lot of things that are specific to the teams that you have to do to prepare for the season that you can't do. Even the guys who, like Luis Patino, who were a little bit late due to the visa issues, and hopefully he's going to be joining the Padres in the next day or so. They've been throwing and sending video to Ruben Niebla. Yeah. Every other day, there's evaluation, there's instruction, okay, do this, we expect you to do this, everything. So at least they're not falling behind. With Blake Snell, though, he doesn't know what team he's going. He's got no one to send video to.
He's playing video games.
He send it to Ruben Niebla, and he goes, well,
I know what you do.
You're not on the team, so I got other guys I got to worry about right now. I'm sorry, Blake.
He was playing video games. I saw that. But he always plays video games. I'm worried for him, man. I'm worried for him. I really like Blake. I want him to do well.
And again, back to just Blake before we play Take on Woods.
Thank you.
If he signs that short-term deal, and I'm not saying it won't work out for him, but his first season with the Padres didn't go great because, for the most part, we felt like it was a tough adjustment for him. Going from Tampa Bay to the Padres. He said
it over and over.
Had to learn
just miss Florida
every day.
I missed the guy everybody. The security guard.
It's only going to be harder
I'm
now.
Just bummed for him, dude.
He was traded to the Padres in December. At least he had 3 months to wrap his mind around a new team. Now he's going to sign. He's going to be expected to be there the next day.
Yeah, ready to go.
And not even know, am I going to Florida? Am I going to Arizona? Where am I going to live? What am I going to do?
It's got a baby on the way. All that is
setting up to be a very rough season. You don't want to set yourself up for a rough season when also then you're hoping to hit free agency again next year and hit the open market. It's going to hurt your value. So, yeah, not a great spot right now for Blake Snell.
No, not at all.
Feel bad.
I do too, man. I like the guy. And you just come off of Cy Young, and I that feeling of wanting to cash in and it doesn't happen sucks. That sucks. He's still going to make some money, I think. Somebody's going to swoop in and grab him. It's probably not going to be what he wants, though.
If there was ever a free agent signing for Take on Woods, I would imagine you would get a massive deal as the MVP of this game.
You'd think so, but never know.
But you don't get paid for this. It's actually the tier ones who sometimes get paid in prizes. And let's get to today's game. Joe got in early today. Joe, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Welcome to Take on Woods, which is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, there is an empty space where Woods used to be. He has left the studio Joe goes first, 5 questions of musical trivia. Woods goes second. If you can beat or tie him, Joe, you will qualify for our grand prize drawing. Last day of the month to qualify. Technically, first day of the month, but last day for qualifying for the 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas. 2 tickets to Air Supply, May 31st and June 1st at the International Theater. Tickets are available now at Ticketmaster.com. All right, you still have all the categories here, Paulie?
Hopefully.
It's been a while. All right, here's what we've got. Sailing the Seas. Those are 5 different bands with names starting with the letter C. Lucky Sevens, 5 song titles that each contain exactly 7 words. And Drive Time, those are 5 bands or artists who all released a song called Drive. So Sailing the Seas, Lucky Sevens, or Drive Time. Joe, what would you like to play?
Let's go Sailing the Seas.
Sailing the Seas. All right, today we're looking for 5 different bands with names starting with the letter C, preceded by the word the, like the Cars. They're all the same like that. You have 60 seconds to answer as many as the 5 as possible. First question is our 2-second song. Paulie will play a little bit of music. You need to give me both the C band and the title of the song to score that point, and we'll go on from there. Pass if you don't know one. We'll come back to it at the end. Joe, are you ready to play?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. The category Sailing the Seas. Good luck, Joe. Let's take on Woods.
Secure. Pass for now.
Don't linger too long trying to figure out which 90s alt band hails from Limerick, Ireland.
Pass.
Which band had a breakthrough start to the 1980s with the release of their album London Calling?
The Clash.
Correct. Which duo from the past decade is best known for collaborative hits Something Just Like This with Coldplay and Closer with Halsey?
Pass.
Which 13-time Grammy-winning country pop band removed a single word from their name in 2020 due to negative connotations?
Oh, man, you got me today. Pass.
Let's go back to the 2-second song, see if you can get the title.
Just Like Heaven.
No, it's not. Don't linger too long trying to figure out which 90s alt band hails from Limerick, Ireland.
Cranberry.
Yeah,
Oh, give it to
I
him.
heard it just before the
Give it
buzzer.
to him.
The came in before the buzzer. So
I don't
we'll
know
give
that
you
it's
the
gonna be
Cranberries.
enough.
We'll give you the Clash. You did not get Love Song by The Cure. You did not get the Chainsmokers. And you did not get the Chicks, formerly the Dixie Chicks. But you did get 2, so hang on the line, Joe. We'll bring in Woods for the same 5 questions in the same 60 seconds without the benefit of knowing our category for the day. Joe's score is locked in. Woods getting his headphones on. We'll reset everything. 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods. Time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Joe.
What is Love Song by The Cure?
Correct. Don't linger too long trying to figure out which 90s alt band hails from Limerick, Ireland.
The Cranberries.
Correct. Which band had a breakthrough start to the 1980s with the release of their album London Calling?
Clash.
Which duo from the past decade is best known for collaborative hits Something Just Like This with Coldplay and Closer with Halsey?
Pass.
Which 13-time Grammy-winning country pop band removed a single word from their name in 2020 due to negative connotations?
Ooh, that was Lady Antebellum.
That is not. Which
And-
duo from the past decade
Wasn't
is
it?
best known for collaborative
Word,
hits
not letter.
Something Just Like This with Coldplay and Closer with Halsey?
I don't know.
You don't know that one. You should know that one.
You know it.
You should
just
know that one.
Don't know it.
I will let you know
Diplo.
that you've already won 3-2,
Oh,
so it's not critical that you know it. It's the Chainsmokers.
Oh.
The category is Sailing the Seas. The Cure, the Cranberries, the Clash, the Chainsmokers, and the Chicks.
Oh, the Dixie Chicks. What about Lady Antebellum? Did they do that?
They removed Antebellum from their name, but they did not.
They're just called Lady?
They're Lady A.
Oh,
now.
Lady A.
They got rid of Antebellum.
What's
But-
the what was the category?
Sailing the Seas. Every band was the
Oh,
Cure,
sea.
the
Got it.
Cranberries, the Clash, the Chainsmokers, and the Chicks. Bands that have C names with the.
I feel like I skated on that one.
But you did. Yeah, Joe could have had you there. He just couldn't get Love Song. He knew it was the Cure. He just couldn't come up with the title of the song, and neither of you got the chain smokers or the chicks.
I told you that
at the
story.
end.
Robert Smith wrote that song for his wife for their anniversary, and which pretty much makes every other anniversary gift ever not good and pales in comparison when you write those lyrics down and say, here's your happy anniversary. I love you very much. I wrote you this song. And then you read it and you hear it and you're like, oh.
We're also going to make this a worldwide hit.
Yeah, this is also going to be like one of the best songs
we could
ever
write a
written.
song for our wives.
Yeah, I
It'd
could
be
do it.
terrible.
This would be awful. I love you. You love me. Stupid. Robert Smith set the bar when he wrote Love Song for his wife, Mary. What a song.
Just making this all look, man.
Yeah.
I get it. All right, Don't Do This is coming up next. I actually have some do this stories to choose from today that I enjoyed.
I may defend Caleb Williams in Don't Do This.
Whoa.
Which is wild. I get it. Guys, the guy is catching some shrapnel right now. But when I read the description this morning, I went, maybe the Don't Do This is for the media blowing this out of proportion.
Fair enough. All right, that's coming up next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com.
That place is no joke.
No joke.
And I mean no joke.
I will get us started in the world of live golf this morning. The much-anticipated return to competitive golf of former PGA Tour sensation Anthony Kim. 12 years after we last saw him playing golf on the PGA Tour. Series of injuries and perhaps some mental stumbling blocks keeping him from returning to the game. Also an insurance policy that he cashed in on that he didn't really want to have to give back all the money because he went back to competitive golf. But Liv made it happen, and there was quite a bit of buzz for the first round of their tournament, which is taking place in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So it's already done because of the time difference. And Anthony Kim,
I think he teed off at, 3:15 this morning or something?
And the reason, unfortunately, that it's in the don't do this category is Anthony Kim went out and is in dead last place after a 6 over 76, which isn't horrible. He's 14 strokes behind leader Jon Rahm after the first round. But the unfortunate part was, well, he said he was disappointed with the score. He had certain expectations. He said, at least if I played badly, I thought I would shoot around par. It was unfortunate I made so many unforced errors from the middle of the fairway. And by unforced errors, I saw a couple of videos. He stone cold topped one.
The worst.
And then he absolutely shanked one
would you
from the fairway
Would you guys rather shank one or top one? I'll shank one all day. Yeah. The topping is mortifying.
No, topping, though, at least can go straight. Like, I topped it, but at least it rolled 120 yards straight down the fairway.
That's not topping.
I mean, you can top one and still have
I'm thinking
advance.
it doesn't make it past the tees in front of you.
Right, the one where it just
15
bounces
feet.
4 feet in front of you.
That's topping it.
I'll shank one all day.
Shank usually involves like a lost ball and
but at least you can bomb one
penalty
or something
strokes,
and just
though.
be like, I screwed something up. But you can obviously it's there.
I have a better chance at making par on a shank than I do on a top.
And maybe he'll bounce back, but there wasn't a ton of fans out there. It was pretty empty, so the shank didn't line directly into someone's torso or something. It would be bad.
They have cut lines there.
No, it's Liv.
Just play.
Yeah, he'll play the next couple of days. Now he's not on one of the Liv teams. He's playing as a wild card, so his score didn't hurt. Jon Rahm or Phil Mickelson's team or something like that. It's just for his own individual edification.
So I'm not a USC fan at all. In fact,
really?
I loathe them. That being
You've made
said,
mention of that a couple of times.
I have, and we've got a lot of Trojan alums out there. So it's nothing personal. I just happen to hate your team. Caleb Williams is an interesting quarterback. He's an interesting guy. I've watched him absolutely torch my favorite team. The year before last, and I watched my team absolutely torch him this year, and it was fun. But he's a good quarterback. He makes a lot of headlines because he marches to the beat of his own drum a little bit, and I think that's okay. People don't like it.
I was going to say, I love that.
People don't like it when you don't fall in line. They want you to do things the way it's always been done. And this young man's got a little leverage as the guy that's probably going to be 1-1 in the draft. And the big headline this morning, Caleb Williams refusing to do medicals. And ESPN first reported that Williams did not plan to do medical testing at the Combine. Further reported...
What's he trying to hide?
What's he hiding?
Woods?
He plans to submit the medical exams with the teams he meets with individually during the pre-draft process. Now, apparently, the medicals at the Combine are a long and arduous, drawn-out thing. And you got 32 teams in the NFL, 32, picking, poking, prodding at you. For what?
Now, there's a realistic chance that one or two of them may get Caleb Williams.
The Chiefs come in, you're like, what are we doing, dude? Like, I'm not going to be a Chief. It's not going to happen. So he went up and they asked him about it. Now, I'll be completely honest. My initial reaction was, oh, aren't you special? And then I read the story, and I did a little research on my own, and I listened to this audio of Caleb Williams explaining why.
Not doing things. It was a decision by me and my team, my family, and it comes down to that. I'd say player in person that they be getting, a person that cares for his teammates. Some of y'all may have seen, some of y'all may have not. I try to take care of all my guys, no matter if you've been fourth on the depth chart or you're the star player. So I care for my teammates, and then the other part is I'm a fierce competitor, as you may have seen after some games. I mean, the Bears was an 8-9 team last year, I believe, and 7-10. Sorry, and that's pretty good for a team that has the first pick. And they got a good defense.
They asked him about the
Bears. They got good players on offense, it's pretty exciting. If you can go into a situation like that.
So I think I sent the wrong clip, but he essentially says, I'm absolutely going to submit medicals with the teams that are interested in drafting me, which will be like the first 3 teams. That's pretty much all you need to do. It seems smart to me, in my opinion. I'm not going to waste a bunch of my time with a bunch of teams that aren't in the mix to draft me. And I know it's not the way it's always been done, and people really want you to fall in line, and they think that that's some sort of black mark on his character, that he's not going to do that, and I don't. I completely disagree with that.
Anyone can send the wrong clip, but you let us listen to like a minute and a half before saying I sent the wrong clip.
Well,
why didn't you stop us?
You
thought maybe it was going to get to the right spot.
I thought I had it out of order.
Gosh,
Sorry, that's my fault.
The right spot.
Good news,
with
it
the
was
clip.
really quality audio.
Yeah, it was really good.
It's like, what
We
are
were
we
able
doing?
to hear all
Why
the
don't
questions.
both of you suck it?
What
How
are we
about that?
listening to? What's going on?
Maybe we wait. We don't wait until a minute before don't do this.
Fair. Well, I had seen the story, and then I saw the audio pop up, and I gave it like a quick listen, but it wasn't the right one.
Finally.
It's on me, dude.
I was
I'll wear
waiting for it too. I was like,
I'll wear it. You're like, this is the one he wanted?
Little do this.
DD mega doo-doo.
You'll remember about, I'd say 3 weeks ago, we brought up the story of Torrey Pines High School, Kansas, former NBA center Scott Pollard.
Indeed.
Who needed a heart transplant to survive. And quite frankly, the odds weren't great because he's 7 foot and he's a huge guy. He needed a very specific heart transplant organ donor to be available to him soon. And then the good news is 13 days ago it happened. He found a heart transplant. They put it in his chest, did the whole procedure, and yesterday he actually got to leave the hospital up on his feet. Obviously, there's a lot more recovery, and you got to keep your body from rejecting it, everything that goes on with a transplant surgery. But video of him ringing the bell as he gets out of his hospital room was absolutely incredible and emotional. His wife, Dawn, posted the video. He's got big thumbs up, big smile. Amazing story for Scott Pollard getting out of the hospital 13 days after a heart transplant. Can you imagine that? Thinking there's an entirely different heart in my chest than there was 2 weeks ago.
That part, sure, but the sitting in a hospital bed going,
waiting.
This is hopeless. I'm 7 feet
I need
tall.
someone who's at least 6'8",
Right.
huge person to get into an unfortunate accident but still have their heart viable that can be transplanted.
You're saying your goodbyes, man. I would be. I mean, it's like reality, but I hope it takes and works and all that. But that's an incredible story in its own right.
Amazing. Medical, doctors,
Incredible.
Scott, all of it. A total do this and don't do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we got to get to break. We talked about this at the start of the show. Our next guest, a guy named Rob Connolly, is the CEO of a new company called Finleet.
Finleet.
It's a way to get involved with minor league athletes, on the ground floor, investing in athletes and their futures. We're not involved in it, but we're curious about it. We're going to ask him about it coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, at its heart, an interview is people asking questions and getting answers. And we have questions for our next guest coming up, Rob Connolly, about his company, Finley, which was introduced to us by Mud Grant while we were out at spring training last week, Woods. And you know what? If it's something that Mud is interested in, you've got our attention right away.
I'll tell you. I mean,
He's not just interested in it.
He's on the board.
He's involved.
He's like an advisor or something like that.
Yeah, and he's
I
on the
don't
board.
really know all the details. That's why we're doing the interview.
And Mud is the one that 100% sold me on it. He just, I peppered him with questions out there, and Mud is a very cautious dude. Very, very cautious guy, and he did his homework as well. So I'm excited to talk to Rob and see what Finley's all about.
All right, we'll do that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by California Coast Credit Union. Guys, we had an overturned crash with somebody may be trapped. This is along Takayo Avenue at the 905. So, yeah, watch out for a little activity there. Also, reports of a possible brush fire eastbound 8 near the 163. Some smoke visible from that right shoulder. Northbound side of the 805 B4 Balboa. There's a collision involving a couple vehicles. And reminder, guys, northbound 15, all lanes remain blocked at Rainbow Valley, all due to a crash involving several vehicles. Happened around 4:45 this morning. Traffic alert has been issued, so if you're heading into Riverside County, you will probably be delayed there. That's northbound 15 at Rainbow Valley. On the southbound side, the left lane remains blocked. With MasterCard Local, CalCoast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with CalCoast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at participating businesses. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And joining us right now on 97.3 The Fan is the CEO and founder of Finley, Rob Connolly. And Rob, obviously you keep some questionable company in Mark Grant, so that's strike one.
Yeah,
but
strike one there.
We'll give you a fair chance anyway. Good morning. Welcome to Ben & Woods.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
It's our pleasure, man. It's such an interesting concept. And I wanted to have you give our audience kind of the 30,000-foot view.
Yeah, I mean, we're a platform that allows fans to, participate in the future earnings of promising athletes.
And yeah, and that's it. I mean, and so we talked earlier about what was the company before?
Big League Advance.
Big League Advance, and I talked to Mud about that too, and you know that to me felt a bit predatory. This is different. Why is this different than something like Big League Advance?
Yeah, I mean, the big difference between us is they're a private hedge fund, right? So, I tried to be a part of that group before, and their minimum investment's $5 million at the time. So I thought to myself, like, what a huge missed opportunity for fans to be able to participate in these athletes if they had the chance. So we put together an investment team with, Comcast NBC, Tim Draper through Draper Startup House, and a bunch of angel investors in San Diego. And we went on this path. We hired a security lawyer, and we wanted to find a way to allow fans to be able to invest in promising athletes through Finley.
So I can buy shares of, like, you have one athlete up right now, is Shedry Vargas, who is a draft pick of the Texas Rangers from the Dominican. And so if I buy 100 shares, I'm buying shares of a Shedry Vargas, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, you're buying shares in his future earning contract.
It's interesting.
And so how this works is Shedry signed for $10,000. Right. And
that doesn't go very far. That does not go very far for a minor league baseball player.
Exactly. And then, I want to be careful because I don't want to, make his proud family look bad, but he really doesn't have any resources.
Sure.
Like, it's terrible. So here's the number 7 prospect for the Rangers, and we're watching him practice on the off field, and he's playing in dirt fields that you'd see on a JV high school team. So we wanted to find a way to give fans to help him focus on baseball year round, to maximize his potential, and then give fans, a opportunity to share in his journey and create a community around him to support him.
And it's funny because we already have people in chat saying, "Can you get Ethan Salas? Because we'd be happy to invest in Ethan
signed
Salas."
For $5 million, so he's probably doing okay.
He signed for $5 million. So if I invest, I mean, what I don't need to know like what his cut is or anything like that, but he benefits from our investment in him. How?
Yeah, so every dollar that goes through, a majority of it goes to him. We charge 0 transaction fees. So if you were to buy shares, it's $8 a share. That's what you pay. There's obviously escrow fees and credit card transaction fees, and so he's getting $500,000, which was over double what BLA offered him.
Wow.
And he's able to use that capital to help his family, get training year round, hire nutritionists, and give him the best chance to make the big leagues.
So let's, Rob Connolly is with us, the CEO and founder of Finley. Let's go through the scenarios. First of all, obviously with any investment comes some risk. If he does not make it big, never signs a big contract, if you invested in him, you're probably not getting any return or your investment back. But then conversely, if he goes on and has a big league career and ends up signing one of these, 9-figure deals, what would like an investor in Vargas expect to receive 10, 15 years down the line?
Yeah, so let me give you a couple examples. Let's say he becomes Jurickson Profar, right? He was the number 1 prospect 2014.
Yep.
Probably hasn't lived up to his potential. If you would have invested $500, you would get $3,231.
Not too bad
for a guy who has not made huge money in his career, but as a big leaguer, he's made the big leagues, made a few million for himself. There is a return on that investment.
And let's bring up like Francisco Lindor. Let's pretend he turns into that. If you invest $500 into that deal, your return's $17,900.
It's a pretty good deal. I rarely get on anything on the ground floor, so this is interesting to me. Talking to Rob Connolly, CEO of Finley. So I know on your website, people can check it out if they want at finley.com, and it's got looks pretty user friendly on how to invest and things like that. But I will say, man, I was able to pull Mudd aside at spring training and chat with him a little bit about it. Again, Mudd is like the most cautious, careful dude alive, and honestly, it went a long way with me. Like if Mudd buys into this, and he has, it made me feel a little bit better of going, yeah, okay, this feels really, really legit to me. If Mudd Grant, who is very, very cautious, buys in, what has he been helping you guys with?
Really, with just relationships. I mean, talking to people about what we're doing, explaining that we are legit, like we've gone through SEC certification.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said there's SEC lawyers and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Comcast NBC as on your cap table, you have to do everything perfectly right. You can't cut corners.
So, Rob, as you go forward, what are your prospects of adding more minor league athletes? Is it only going to be baseball? Are you going to be looking at other sports? What's the growth plan look like?
Yeah, we want to dominate baseball in the beginning, but we definitely want to expand in other sports. I mean, there's not a sport we don't feel that we can't touch globally. We've even had fun talks about, like, with Del Mar being here, like, instead of investing in a horse, what if you could invest in the jockey? Yes. And every horse he races and wins, you get a piece of that.
Yeah, it's an interesting comparison because the first thing I thought of when you mentioned this was like a horse racing syndicate, where it's very expensive to buy a thoroughbred racehorse, but there's people who love horse racing will get together and they'll each chip in a couple $1,000, and together the 30 of them own a racehorse, and if it goes on to win the Kentucky Derby or the Breeders' Cup, they make it big. They have fun, though. I think part of it is you have fun with your investment in watching your investment and see if they succeed. In horse racing, it's the horse. Here, it will be an actual minor league athlete. You can follow the minor leagues, the box scores, see how he's performing.
Yeah,
you can cheer for him to get called up to the big leagues and have a big league career. I think the important thing is obviously knowing that this is, clear, like any investment, there's no guaranteed sure thing, but this is, I think for a sports fan, there's obviously some appeal here, Rob.
Definitely. I mean, I just keep playing through my head too. Like, could you imagine getting a notification, having shares in Tatis, and then finding out he signs a $341 million extension? Like, we'd be down in, Encinitas, somewhere
raging,
getting bottles of tequila.
Raging. Absolutely raging. And it would feel like, that's why it's interesting to me, because like I said, I feel like I never get in on the ground floor thing. So tell us a little bit about this kid, man, and how difficult was it to get him to say, yeah, I'm in, let's do this?
We were on a flight within 4 hours to the Dominican after we got the green light. Like, we went down to the airport with a credit card saying, book me a flight right now.
100%.
Old school. So, hey, Shedry Vargas signed for 10,000. Wasn't expected to be much. He had different plans his first year. Dominican Summer League, batted 301 with a 131 WRC plus. Got challenged at Complex League the next year as a 17-year-old. Did even better, 315 average, 131 WRC plus. Keith Law just came out with an article saying that he's his biggest sleeper for the Rangers organization. Teams have been wanting to trade for him, and it's an exciting time for him as an athlete and all the investors that want to participate in this.
So, Rob, before we let you go, there are obviously in our chat, I see people are intrigued. How does it work in terms? Is it like an app or a website? What do you do if you're interested in going and being a part of this?
All you have to do is go to finley.com and you can buy shares right through our website. It's a web app. It's not a downloadable app. It's just finley.com and you can go right through the process through our website.
Well, Rob, appreciate you spending some time with us.
It's interesting stuff, man. Really, yeah. And somebody said in the chat too. There's plenty of guys that are on deals like this already. It's not usually done through investment companies, not exactly available to the public. That's what makes this a little bit different, and it gives you that rooting interest in watching this guy's career. So, pretty interesting stuff, man. Thank you so much, Rob.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Rob Connolly, CEO, founder of Finley, and again, we're not endorsing. Not paid. I don't know that it's something I will do, but you seem kind of interested in it. Just Mud brought it up, and we thought, okay, this is a intriguing concept, and honestly, it's kind of the way things are going. Now, I'll point out the other way. There's GoFundMe's where you're not getting anything back. You're just
Correct.
Like, hey,
That's just a donation.
Let's just donate $20 toward this kid and see if he can help make the big leagues, and people will raise money that way. This has a potential payoff at the end, and it would come out of his money. But my guess is if a Shedry Vargas makes it big, it's not going to be. He's going to be happy. He's still making a lot of money, and he'll pay back. Sounds in the investment, down the line, what he would make in his big league career.
Yeah, and it sounds different to me than the one we talked about earlier, certainly because like Fernando's gonna be paying that off for a long, long time. Yeah. This feels a little bit different to me. I don't know. I'm gonna do some more research on it and take a look, but it certainly is an interesting concept as far as helping minor leaguers. And they gave kind of a breakdown of expenses and stuff for these minor league players, and it's pretty nuts to see. I mean, like equipment, in and of itself in 24, you're talking $3,000 or so just on cleats and gloves and sunglasses, things like that, things that these guys absolutely need. A nutritionist is expensive, a car, to get around.
Yeah, we've heard the horror stories of guys
sleeping
in the minor
cars and
leagues
whatnot.
that, you have to share, 6 guys sharing a room somewhere, and that the meals are fast food or worse, just a slice of bread and some peanut butter before the game is all they have, because they can't afford it, because they're not making much as a minor leaguer. And if they didn't get drafted in the first round or two and sign one of those big bonus deals, or weren't one of the top international prospects who signed a big bonus like Ethan Salas, that signing bonus is, as you said, might just be a couple $1,000, $10,000. That goes nowhere nowadays. I mean, that doesn't cover 4 or 5 months of rent somewhere, and you've got to figure out how to survive on that and a very meager minor league salary at that point,
while trying to advance and stay healthy and compete and find a way to get all that stuff. There's a lot that goes into it, man. Certainly, and it's kind of the job of the agent too. Like I've pretty close with John Boggs, and I've heard the money that they lay out, Ben, for some of their guys that never make it. I mean, that never make it, and it's constant. I need bats, I need shoes, I need more shoes, I need gear, I need shorts. Can you call this guy? I need this, and that's all coming out of the agent's pocket. And the hope is one day they sign that big contract and they get a percentage of what they make.
Now there's obviously a fine line here. The guys who are the best prospects, the Ethan Salases of the world, they shouldn't need this type of thing, because they got the big money. So you got to kind of find the guys who were overlooked a little bit or burst out on the scene in their first pro year. Like they weren't much heralded in the draft or as an international signing, but all of a sudden they get down to the the Dominican League or the Arizona Fall, something like that, and open some eyes
breakout
here.
Yeah, like you said, there's number 7 prospects.
Yeah.
So I mean, it does, and that's why it always kind of surprised me that Tatis did agree to that deal.
I mean, he wasn't a big bonus baby type signing. He just he had a dad who played in the big leagues who would probably be more financially stable than some other families. But on his own, Tatis he wasn't, a huge international signing by the White Sox. He's promising, but I don't remember exactly what he signed for. But it wasn't an exorbitant amount of money when he got signed by the White Sox.
Yeah, interesting stuff, though, man. Interesting stuff.
700,000 is that what, or is that the different answer? I'm just seeing the
700K
number in the chat. So
yeah, so Jeff says, "Oh, there we go. What happens if you invest in a prospect? They get the contract turned into Wander Franco. That's terrible. If the Rays void that contract, you still get money from the original contract he signed. If he gets paid, you get 10% pre-tax. Interesting." Interesting stuff.
I mean, as he gets paid, you get paid going forward, would be my guess, is how that works. So
it's a fascinating concept.
It is. The website is finlete.com, Finlete. People asking in the chat, I believe.
All right. Well, we learn something new every day.
Every day.
And that was an interesting conversation here on a Friday. All right, we're already 2 hours in.
I like interesting conversations.
I like interesting conversations also.
We all do. That's what we're here for the most part. Yeah. All right, we got 2 hours to go. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, our Tier 1 tour continues. The Detroit Tigers, next team on our checklist. We're about a little over halfway through now already. Counting our way down, we're going to be heading west and then wrapping up our Tier 1 tour here in about a week and a half. So getting close to the end, getting close to the start of the season. Sammy Levitt should join us from spring training. Sammy Spring Training is going to be with us, see what they're talking about today at the Peoria Sports Complex. Reindl Report. Take us all the way home to Annie and Elston at 10 o'clock this morning. We will be right back with more Ben and Woods. Stick around on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Halfway home on a Friday, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks so much for being here. Looks like a stunning, stunning day out there. Look forward to getting through the rest of this one. 2 hours left to go.
Good day for a barrio luncheon outdoors.
A great. Oh, is it outdoors?
Oh, yes, it's outdoors.
Ooh, going to be a little toasty. You have a sport coat?
I do.
Okay.
In the car, I have a sport coat.
Okay. Same one that you had in Peoria?
No,
the navy blue one?
No.
What color is this one?
This one is a lighter blue.
Ooh,
with
okay.
Some stripes.
Oh,
yeah.
Why didn't you wear it in?
Because we're inside doing a radio show, and there's no need to wear a sport coat on Ben and Woods in the morning.
If you say so. I wanted to see the whole package.
It's kind of a spring sort of jacket, I would say.
Like seersucker?
Yeah, a little seersuckery.
Did you get this at the Eric Grupner collection?
It is very.
It's the Eric Grupner
very
collection.
Grupner-y.
I'm gonna need you to go down and get it.
Can you go down and get it, please?
It's my most Grupner-esque jacket.
Please
I will
go
say
get
that.
it. I want to see the whole package,
See it at the end
man.
of the show. We'll take pictures.
We'll
take pictures at the barrio.
I want it now.
Down by
Barrio
the-
lunch, and we will post them, so you'll see me.
I'm
sure
looking
there.
forward to as many stories as you can get out of your barrio luncheon.
So I've had to get dressed 4 out of 5 days this week.
You
Not
have,
fancy,
dude,
but
yes.
Shoes, socks. We go out to spring training. I can't do my normal flip flops and shorts every single day.
I'm glad
so
you
it's
didn't.
a lot
We
of-
all dressed up a
A
little
lot
bit
of
out
dressing this week has been kind of difficult. It's been a long week. I mean, it's Friday. We started Sunday.
Yeah.
Got in the car, around 12:30.
6-hour drive.
Drove all the way to Peoria. Long days on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Come right back, do a show yesterday. Great show yesterday. And now we're just trying to it's still this same week that
really
we were in
is.
Peoria. This week is still going on here on a Friday.
Nobody's going to feel bad for us. So it was an incredible week out there. So much fun getting to talk to the guys, and it boosts your spirits a little bit, and gets you more excited for the season. At least it did for me, and I'm really rooting for a lot of these guys. I mean, all of them. Everybody we talked to was incredible, from Brett Sullivan to Tom Cosgrove to Manny Machado. I thought everybody did a great job. Their mic holding abilities notwithstanding. We'll work on that in the future. Maybe get them the headset mic where it's just right in front of their face. They don't have to do a damn thing. They can just sit there. And I think that may be.
At least the mic stand. Just removing them holding the microphone.
So hold on. If it's on a stand, they're gonna lean back from it. I mean,
yeah. If we really make the big time, we hire a key grip, whose job is to actually hold the microphone and keep moving it to keep the right distance in front of their face.
Bo would do it for 10 seconds, then he would pitch an absolute fit and walk away. He's really in the fit pitching mode. And where if you don't do exactly what he wants when he wants it, it's done. You're done for. He pouts and throws a fit. It's very challenging.
Where would he possibly get that?
His mother.
from?
Definitely his mother.
Yeah.
100% his mother. 1,000% Hannah.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Really?
Me?
Really? You
Never.
You don't like to have things your own way, the way you like them?
I'm so
and
easy.
Never been known to pitch a fit, had
I'm
things
so-
not go
bro,
the way
I'm-
that you like them to go.
I am so laissez-faire, carpe diem. Just chill, man. Everything's cool, dude. I'm good. I'm as laid back. I'm laid back in the cut right now. Just having a great time. Nothing. I got nothing. Everything's good. My heart rate never goes up. My blood pressure never goes up. Ever. Never, ever, ever. So I do wonder where he gets that from. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer.
Kidding me?
What's that from?
I don't even know.
Hear that a lot around my house. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor and spirit of the Barrio Luncheon.
Say the phone number twice.
I don't say it twice, dude. I say it once. Oh my God! I didn't know what I said.
Put the other one on.
There is no other one. That's
The other one. Listen, man. What we heard was you're on the horn.
it, bro. I don't give a what you heard. I'm sending you what was said.
Yeah, where could Bo have possibly got?
I got no idea. I have literally no idea.
Are you kidding me?
That's our guy.
That's your guy. Whew. It's weird to hear that back because I'm so different now.
Yeah.
That was so many years ago. Therapy has really helped me a lot, and continues to. It's a different guy back then. I had a really bad day that day. And I told you, I had to tail between my legs after the show, walk into my boss's office and sit down. He goes, "What's the matter?" And I go, "I have to tell you something." "What?" And I said, "Well, I got into a verbal altercation with a listener today."
You know, tell the whole story.
Oh,
If somebody didn't,
Yeah,
never heard
right.
This is an old one, but it's been a while
we didn't
since
get
we've
to
shared this
Throwback
one. That's for
Thursday
sure.
yesterday.
That's true.
I say tell the whole story. We'll play the whole phone call.
If I remember correctly, we were giving away iPads, right? And our boss,
Good prize.
Really good prize. Our boss at the time, we had this whole iPads from space bit that we were doing. So I would have to do a video of like, "Hey, it's Woodsy. Check out this iPad from space. It's so cool. Make sure you sign up. It's from space." You know how I am.
You were a little cynical because you knew the iPads did not actually come from space. They came from Best Buy.
From Best Buy. and so, you know, it was a cool thing. We had 15 names a day, and we'd read, okay, at 7:15, Ben Higgins from Encinitas. You're on the clock. You got 9 minutes, 49 seconds.
Kind of like our
back.
biggest fan contest we did recently.
Call me back here at FM 94.9. So I would get that, and then I would start the clock, man. I knew when I read it, and I'd start the clock. So this guy called well after the time and said that he called in time. That was the first thing. He goes, "I called in, you didn't answer." I go, "Buddy, when I read the name, I sit here and rot for 9 minutes, 49 seconds, most of the time for 10 to 15 minutes. But I gotta keep it fair. You can't call in 19 minutes after and win the prize. You got to call in within the first.
It's not fair to the other contestants.
Correct. You got to call in within the first 9 minutes, 49 seconds to get your iPad." And we started going back and forth. Then he said I didn't say the number. Then he said I said the number twice. Something. I can't remember.
Now, his motivation is obviously he wants an iPad. So
Yeah.
he's trying to come up with
any excuses.
loophole, any way that he can still qualify and win his iPad.
So I was recording. I record all the callers that come in so that I can edit that audio, play it back on the air. Like, "Hey, Paul Reindl just called in. Paulie, you're the winner of a new iPad." "Oh, hell yeah, man.
What's the phrase that pays?
I love you, man. You're the best."
Yeah.
And then you play that into the next capital city song and you call it a day and you're out. Well, this guy was arguing and he kept arguing and he kept arguing and he kept arguing. And I said, "Buddy, I can go back and pull the audio of the timestamp, everything." And he was not buying it. He just wouldn't relent. And I just started getting madder and madder and madder and madder. So what you hear is we played this audio on my buddy
if
Dan's
it was
podcast.
Me, I feel like I just go, "I totally get it, buddy. I wish I could give you the iPad. I'd be the same way that you are. I just can't do it, man.
I did.
It's just not fair."
I did all of that. And he would not stop. And then he started calling me a liar, and it was over. It was over. We have the whole thing
there on the tape.
Okay.
It's
you.
right there. It's exactly what I said.
This is after 10 minutes.
I'm not lying, dude. I'm not trying to keep an iPad from you. I'm really not.
You must have said it twice.
No, I only always say it once.
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, dude. It's right there.
Send him audio.
It's right there. Are you really going to tell me that you're going to listen to the audio and then tell me you heard something different? I didn't say it again. I do this every day.
Oh, God.
Every day.
Meltdown.
Like, I know what I do. I know what I'm doing.
You said it was
Oh, my God, dude.
Edison
You're
Hernandez.
listening to the audio. You're listening to it.
listening to the audio that we never heard.
I'm sorry you didn't hear it, but that's it.
Damn, dude.
Dude,
Been the first one.
I only do it once. That's what you heard.
The second one.
Oh
was
my
the
God,
first
dude.
you on the horn. That's-
There's not a second one. I go right into.
Now that was not on the that what we heard.
Are you out of your
Oh, wow, was
mind?
that live?
Are you seriously out of your
not on
mind?
the air.
I recommend you, if you're gonna say it twice, say the phone number twice.
I don't say it twice, dude. I say it once. Oh my God, I did not. You're hearing what I said. You're hearing what I said.
Put the other one on.
There is no other one. That's it.
The other one. Listen, man. What we heard was you're on the horn.
Bro, I don't give a what you heard. I'm sending you what was said. Whatever you think you heard, I don't care.
Damn, dude.
Like, you're out of your mind. I give you the evidence. I'm giving you the evidence. That's what was said on the radio. That's what was said. Like, are you kidding? I gave you what I said. I didn't say it again. Hey.
Wonder if that guy's a tier 1 now.
I don't know. If you are, man, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a big derail moment. I mean, when he said,
I don't say it twice, dude.
When I said
Customer Relations Pro Stephen Woods.
when I send you the audio and you have a chance to hear exactly what was said, and then you call me back and say, well, we didn't hear it. Well, I just sent it. I sent you, this is exactly what went down. There's evidence of it. And you're still going to fight me on it. Oh, my God, that was fun.
Whatever happened to the customer is always right?
They're not. They're absolutely not. They're not always right.
You don't believe in that
Absolutely not, dude. They're not always right.
Woods thinks I'm right.
Have you seen how customers act these days? Rarely are they right. Rarely are they right. So, yeah, man, that was not my finest moment, but I can laugh at now, knowing that,
dude,
I'm still capable of that a few times a year.
Were you worried about getting a poor Yelp review from that guy?
Oh, I probably already had. I do not go read Yelp reviews, my friend. I do.
Do
not.
we have Yelp reviews?
Yes, and don't look at them.
They do Yelp reviews of radio shows? I had no idea.
Do not.
They have Yelp reviews. You can go like our podcast.
Yes,
once
ratings.
Every
Really?
hour
No,
we
don't look at 'em.
podcast
I have never
it.
seen
You can see
any
it on
of it. I have
Spotify.
never
Apple
seen any of
Music.
this.
Yeah.
Reviews are not good online.
Not people. I mean, that's where they feel strong. So, yeah, that was not my finest day. I went in, I owned it to the boss, played him the audio, and was like, "Look, man, this is what happened." Now I'd screwed up before. I had to give one guy like 2 iPads because I screwed up one time. That was another time I had to walk in there, and I don't know how that happened, but one thing, it's like I try to teach my kids. Man, if you screw up, just wear it. If he had found out about that call later, I would have been dead. If I had just slunk out, got in my car, and went home, and the phone rang later, he'd be like, "Are you out of your mind? Like, what were you doing?" And I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I should have told you." So I knew I have to wear this. I got to walk in his office. I got to come clean. I did. I didn't get in any trouble. I think he might have ended up giving that clown an iPad anyway down the road, but I didn't have to do it. I didn't have to apologize or anything.
The squeaky wheel.
Squeaky wheel
gets the grease.
Yeah, man.
And I hate that it's true, but it does happen a lot.
And it's not. I disagree that the customer is always right. I really do. I think customers can be real jerks.
I think the customer's rarely right.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think that customers can be real jerks.
It's just not a great slogan for your company. Hey, the customer is rarely right.
Customer's rarely right.
Doesn't make you want to walk into that store necessarily.
No, I get it.
That's fair. But
but like the Yelp review people, they're the ones that just assume they're right.
Correct.
And you're not.
My wife's a big Yelp review leaver. I'll go to DoorDash and get something from a restaurant and see Hannah N. and her comment, and I'm like, "Hey, babe, again?" She's like, There's one, if you go get the frozen yogurt by my house, she's the first review, and you always see her name. It kills me every single time.
I do it when if I'm asked, like, hey, if you had a pleasant experience,
sure.
like, we'd love it. It really does help us. And sometimes they'll say Google reviews or Yelp or whatever. I'll be like, happy to do it, but I don't usually go out of my way to leave the review. Like sometimes you order something on DoorDash, it'll automatically
just click 5 stars and move on.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm
not trying to ruin anyone's.
Are you enjoying this app right now? Will you leave a review?
No, I'll just give you some stars.
No, I'm not going to.
If that guy is out there and you listen to this show,
please call in.
I'll apologize to you now.
Great reunion. We'll have a reunion between Woods and that guy.
That guy. It was so frustrating. So frustrating. Could you tell that I was very frustrated?
Yeah.
He's listening to the audio that I sent him and telling me that something else happened.
Maybe he didn't understand the
I don't
rules.
give a what you heard.
Clearly.
Yeah. I don't care what you heard. I'm sending you what I said. It's right here. Hey. Just pure frustration and exhaustion. I was thinking
he'll call in. He thinks he just won the trip to Las Vegas for Take on Woods.
I also think I might have been over the iPad bit. We've been doing it for about 9 months. Are we ever going to move
From
on
space.
to something else from space? Can you guys create a new video of you and Hillary will be an alien, and then you steal the iPad and you're a Martian? And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do it again. It's got very hard to be creative after a while. But, yeah, that was gaslighting 101 by that guy. That's exactly what that was. Here it is. Here's the smoking gun. No, this is a different one. This one is smoking. It's got your fingerprints on it. That's not me. It's just straight up gaslighting me, and I lost my mind. Good pull, Paulie.
I enjoy that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Just explaining deep dives into Ben and Wood's history.
It makes me sweat when I hear it, but I'm not saying I'm immune to blow-ups like that these days, but they are way spaced out.
I always think it makes me look good because I've managed to work with you for 6 years without
6
major
years.
incidents.
And we've never gotten a fight, never had a storm out, never cursed at you or anything. And now my wife is tweeting out the episode of me on Wipeout. So this has just been a super fun morning. Should we talk about some of the deaths in my family next on Ben and Woods? Some of the tragedies.
Or the Detroit Tigers.
Or
One
the
depressing
Detroit Tigers.
story
That's
or
true.
the other.
That's true.
On our Tier 1 tour. We'll get to that.
How dare she?
Coming up, let's take a quick timeout. We'll be back after a check of traffic. It's Ben and Woods on a Friday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Oh, the intro to our Tier 1 tour reminds me I may have to roll some R's today.
Please
at
don't.
The Spirit of the Barrio
Please.
Luncheon. I've been practicing.
Please don't do
it.
Please don't do it. It's just
Bria.
it's going.
It hasn't gotten
It
better.
hasn't gotten
I'm trying.
literally any better.
All right. I'll avoid rolling any R's.
If I
at lunch
practiced
today.
anything that much for that
You'd think
long,
it would get better.
Yeah. Like Bo couldn't dribble like 3 weeks ago. He could not dribble a basketball. And he practiced now he's dribbling left hand, right hand. It just hasn't gotten any better. So don't bust it out. I think it could only be detrimental to
What if
you.
I have to introduce someone who has a double R in their name? Don't I have to try it?
Mark Loretta.
Mark only has one R in his last name. There's 2 T's. Ta-ta. Loretta.
Mark Loretta.
Loretta.
Jeez, just be careful out there.
Fair enough. All right, the Detroit Tigers are today's team in our Tier 1 tour, coming off a season in which they went 78-84, finishing second in the American League Central. They're a team on the rise, just a very, very slow rise.
Slow
They've
burn.
Missed the playoffs for the last 9 years. Hired A.J. Hinch, still have him as their manager, trying to get back to the postseason for the first time in a decade. And honestly, when you look at the Tigers, they've made some nice moves. They've developed some young, good players like Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson. But when they went out and spent their big money, they spent it poorly. Javi Baez has not been a good free agent signing. He remains in the middle of their infield and has just not produced the way that they would expect for the kind of money that they gave him. He's not even projected to hit near the top of their order. He's just basically a very expensive 7-hitter now for the Detroit Tigers, which is problematic for a team that doesn't spend huge in, Detroit's not a small market. It's a big market, but never been a team that has spent the pants off of, against their rivals.
Yeah, I mean they spent some money years ago, and they've let some guys go from their some of their bigger stars that they had years ago, like Miggy and they added Miggy, spent some money on him, but. What they're doing now is they're really going with the youth movement, Ben. Torkelson is projected to be a really good player. They got him projected at 32 bombs this year. Not a big high average guy, but he's going to play first base. They did do that extension with Colt Keith, who has never seen a pitch in the big leagues yet. Extended him for, I believe, 6 years, bought out some free agent.
5th-round draft pick that has risen up to become among their top prospects.
He's expected, from everything I read, to break camp with the team and be their starting second baseman. He's still learning the position of second base as well. They did add Gio Urshela to play third base. He's got a really, really good glove. Their starting pitching is headlined by Tarek Skubal, and they picked up Jack Flaherty, who's going to eat some innings for him. Kenta Maeda will eat some innings for him as well. No
one that scares you.
Nobody that really terrifies you. They got him projected at 80.5 wins right now. I think I'd probably lean the under there, even though that division is always ripe for the taking. It's going to need. They're going to need a lot of work.
Betting on the Detroit Tigers to have a losing record seems like a winning bet most years. Because it has been a winning bet most years on the Detroit Tigers. But that division is so mediocre. Someone's going to win it, and they're probably going to win it by having a slightly above 500 record. And I can't promise you it's not the Tigers, because we already talked about the Guardians, and they aren't that exciting.
I think the Twins.
The Twins have been the favorites.
Twins probably run away with the division, to be honest. But
we'll get to the Twins. But I'm curious what their projection is.
Oh, what the Twins are at?
Yeah,
Minnesota.
They won 87 last year to win the division by 9 games over the Tigers.
86.5.
86.5. So, Twins have a down season. It ends up being a very wide open division for those teams. I mean, the Royals are still bad. The White Sox. I mean, the Royals have a chance to jump up this year. They've actually made some moves. But they only won 56 games last year too, which is
nowhere to go but up.
Not many. So we'll see. Detroit Tigers. They were good in 1984.
They really were. They were really good in 84.
Very good in 84.
They did add Mark Canha as well.
Made the playoffs a couple of times in the early 2010s, right? Had a couple of decent seasons when Miggy was in his prime.
It could be another rough go in the Motor City.
But if the prospects all, pan out and play well, you can dream on the Tigers if you're a fan there in Detroit. All right, we've got Sammy coming up. Do we know his schedule this morning?
I got to check in with him, but
I know-
he is scheduled for now.
I know he's already talked to one Luis Patino.
He's in camp
this morning at the Peoria Sports Complex, so we can hear what the newest arrival to the San Diego Padres had to say this morning when Sammy Spring Training joins us from Peoria, Arizona. We'll get to that coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Sammy to take the afternoon off yesterday. We'll see if he listened to our advice. I know he's already hard at work this morning, was in the clubhouse talking to Luis Patino, the newest arrival at Padres spring training camp. Sammy Spring Training will join us right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
A little busy this morning. A crash at the clearing stage, northbound 5 just past the 54. It's in the center divide. Accident has been cleared from the transition ramp eastbound 8 at the northbound 163. Watch out for some plywood reported in middle lanes, westbound 78 before Vista Village. And this accident northbound 15 at Rainbow Valley that happened around 4:45 this morning still has all northbound lanes blocked. Traffic having to squeeze by with the right shoulder. So if you're heading into Riverside, give yourself plenty of extra time. On the southbound side, that left lane is still blocked at Rainbow Valley. That did turn out to be a fatal accident, guys. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of slowing in both directions on that north and southbound side of the 15 in Rainbow Valley. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I'm not sure if Sammy was able to listen this morning because he was hard at work, but I wanted to make sure he got the final conclusion of our expense reports at spring training. Sam, not only did Adam approve every one of our charges, he got the Airbnb host to cover all of our hotel rooms for the first night.
It's incredible.
At the Hampton Inn. So Woodsy going to get reimbursed completely as well. It was a complete win. Adam has like jumped up 3 notches in esteem for all of us today.
Yeah, no doubt.
Wow. How about that?
He's
Mr.
unreal.
Adam Klug.
He's
coming
unreal.
through.
He's
nice job.
He got that guy on the phone and just hammered him. And the guy said, "I give up, Uncle. I'll pay for that. I'll also give you $1,000 to never call me again. And next year's stay is free." And
he's also going to be filling in for you this year on Padres pre and post.
Yeah, if we need him, we now have free backup. Sammy, if you want to take the day off. Did you take the day off yesterday?
No, I was here in the morning. I did not go to
afternoon,
the game, but I did.
Yeah.
I was here in the morning. Did not go to the game in the afternoon, but did knock out a couple of good things here around 11:30 a.m. noon, and then wrap things up. So I did not go yesterday, but I did catch up on the highlights.
Now you got
I feel like I was there.
You got your pops in town. What did you guys do yesterday in the Peoria area?
Yeah. So yesterday, my dad was at his hotel for the morning. He got some work done. Then we met up here at the complex. Went to Old Town Scottsdale. Walked around. My dad had not been to Scottsdale. He's really not been to Phoenix in 20-plus years. So went to Old Town Scottsdale. Walked around a little bit. Grabbed a nice lunch. Had a nice time. Drove back towards the Peoria Glendale part of town, and then just sort of hung out at the hotel, the Airbnb, and had a late dinner. So very nice to have him here. He is a big baseball fan. He is the reason I'm so into baseball. I mean, he was taking me to Shea Stadium as a baby, so it is good to have him here. And rumor has it that he will be roaming the backfields here shortly. So,
I love it.
We'll see who Jeff Levitt gets to meet here this morning. Maybe a few celebrities. We'll see.
Well, Sam, why don't you get us caught up on what Luis Patino had to say this morning upon his arrival? Or is he at a point where he can compete if the Padres want him to, potentially start games, or is he too far behind because of his visa issues?
Yeah, well, he certainly seemed like he's been putting in a lot of work the last month and a half. Obviously, has been communicating with the Padres and Ruben Niebla, and he did not express that he felt very far behind. So I guess that's good news. I think in reality, the team leaves for Korea in 2 weeks. And also, he's competing in a really, really crowded bullpen with a lot of quality arms, right? And all those things can be true at once. So, no, he seems very confident with where he's at. It sounds like he'll follow a similar progression to Wandy Peralta, who arrived a handful of days ago and is appearing in his first Cactus League game today. But Patino was very happy with where he's at, and at least to him, did not seem like he's all that far behind. So, obviously, they'll progress him forward, and we'll see when he potentially appears in the Cactus League game here in the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, you mentioned that, obviously they're leaving for Korea in less than 2 weeks, but the point has been made, and I'm curious, Sammy, if you've heard anything talked about this. The battle for the last starting rotation spots doesn't necessarily end when the team gets on the plane to Korea, because they're not going to need a fourth and a fifth starter for those games. And they might not need a fifth starter even for the first week of the season. So the Padres potentially can put off that decision and see how guys do in the exhibition games in Korea, the exhibition games against the Mariners after they get back, maybe even another side session. So while, yes, the season starts soon, the final battle for the rotation could go on for another month here.
Yeah, I've heard pretty much the same thing. And obviously it makes a lot of sense because you don't need those starting pitchers until the last week of March, potentially first week of April. So they can take their time. Now, how they decide to utilize their pitchers really as a whole during those 2 games in Korea, it's going to be fascinating, right? Because you're going to have potentially your starting pitchers not built up all the way to where they'd normally be. And obviously you have to be prepared for any scenario there in Korea, guys struggling, guys having to come out earlier than you would like them to. So the way they utilize everybody, I think, is going to be really interesting, including their starting pitchers. And, the bottom line is this as well. I mean, they've got to get guys their work in as they prepare for the real course of the season beginning on March 28th. But you're right, Ben. I mean, it certainly seems like they're in no rush to speed things along. And I would highly doubt that we leave Peoria knowing who exactly are those 4th and 5th starters. It would seem unlikely just because, again, they don't have to make that decision. And the reality is when they leave for Korea, they're still almost 2 weeks away. In fact, they're a little bit over 2 weeks away from opening day. So why would you have to even make that call or finish your evaluation process? So it does seem that way, yes.
So we are talking to spring training Sammy here on Ben and Woods this morning. We got a couple of lineups out today, Sammy. We've got the split squad. I would say it's probably pretty fair to say A team, B team, right?
Let me guess. The A team gets to stay in Peoria. The B team has to go to Maryville. Am I right?
You're absolutely right, Ben. The Angels will come into the Peoria Sports Complex, and they'll be facing a lineup of Tatis Jr., Bogarts, Crony, Campy, Kim, Profar, Eggy at third, Sugar in center with the A team, and newest Padre, Tim LaCastro, will be the DH and hit in the 9 slot, and then over in against the Brewers, Marcy in left, Merrill in center, Mercado in right, Higgy behind the dish, Cal Mitchell, Matt Batten, Tyler Wade, Martorella, and then Mason McCoy at short with Iriarte on the bump. So I don't know that you can read much into it other than Sugar getting reps with the first team and as a center fielder, and Merrill getting reps with the second team as a center fielder.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. And before I get to Merrill in center and Marcy in left, because I have a couple of thoughts on that, but Manny Machado not in either lineup, and I did ask Mike Schilt about that today, just wondering, because I think typically based on what's happened here the last week and a half, today would have been a day Manny would be in one of these lineups. And Mike Schilt said it's an extra day, part of his progression, and, seems like just sort of a decision to not only give him a day away from playing in the games, but it was interesting. Mike Schilt talked about how, essentially there's an argument to be made, not that the game at bats aren't important, but Manny doing some other work, more at bats, more volume, than having to recover from that, can sometimes be a little bit more valuable than going and taking, 2-3 at bats in one of these games. So sounds like just a part of his progression, extra day, nothing to that. But I did want to ask the question because I did kind of raise my eyebrows a little bit when I saw Manny not in either of these lineups. So it seems like all good on that front, just part of the recovery progression for Manny Machado from what we understand this morning. As far as the other two, look, it is interesting. We're seeing Jackson Merrill in center field the third time in a row that he's been in the lineup playing the field. I think it's notable. To your point, Woodsy, Jose Zocar also in center field. But, I mean, look, Jacob Marcy, if you go look at it, did not play left field very much in his minor league career. In fact, I think I looked earlier, it's 2 appearances in left field. So they continue to try guys out in different spots, and there does appear to be a pretty concerted effort to play Jackson Merrill in center field. And look, for a guy who was playing left field the first couple of Cactus League games, now he's played center 3 times in a row. I mean, I don't want to read too much into it, but let's see what the coming days bring. Is he continually out there in center field? You would think for somebody that has very limited outfield experience, where he does get those reps in the outfield could potentially say something. So continue to keep an eye on that. But yeah, having a Zokar in center, no surprise. I don't think you can read too much into, a Zokar is at home and Merrill's on the road. I mean, that quite honestly maybe, and I didn't ask Mike Schultz about this, but that quite honestly may be something where, look, Jose Zokar has some Major League service time,
Sure.
right? So Merrill's going on the road. It makes sense to me, honestly. Yep. So, yeah, you're right. Interesting notes today with the lineup, and that was the update on Manny as well.
It's a good observation, Sammy, because Mike Schultz can downplay all he wants and say we're going to move Jackson Merrill around, see how he is. When you move Jacob Marcy, who is a center fielder, out of his position so Jackson Merrill can play that position, that is telling. It is also telling that even though Mike Schultz has said we're going to get Jackson Merrill in the infield, you'll see him at short and second, I don't feel like we've seen him at all, at least in a game there.
Yeah, maybe backfields.
They are ramping up even more and more Jackson Merrill to the outfield and more to Jackson Merrill to center field, seemingly every single day. They may not say it out loud, but their actions have spoken louder than words. They're preparing Jackson Merrill, and they don't have to decide yet, but they are preparing for him to be the center fielder for the San Diego Padres in 2024. I feel comfortable saying that based on my observations so far this spring.
Yeah, again, I don't want to read all the way into it, like make some grand proclamation, but Ben, to your point, your eyes don't lie to you. I mean, playing not 3 straight games, but 3 straight starts defensively in center field, I think does say something. And by the way, just mentioning the Jacob Marcy part of it, again, he does not have much experience in left. So similarly there, you're putting him in left, and that is somebody who, at this moment, with the roster the way it is competing for a spot on this team and potentially a spot in this outfield. So is that something to read into at all that, you're working him out in some different spots? So again, we're taking it day by day here. It's just such a unique scenario because they leave for Korea in under 2 weeks, and there are so many young players competing for spots, and there's this looming question of whether there could be an addition or two made to this roster before we get out of here. It is all part of the equation right now for sure.
Sammy, the guy who will be pitching in that game against Milwaukee is Jairo Iriarte, and he's looked very impressive. I got to see one bullpen session while we were there. The talk has been pretty glowing. What are you hearing? What do you know and can share with us about Jairo Iriarte?
Yeah, I mean, what I can share is that they are really, really high on him. And he's also underwent a physical transformation. He's bigger than he was a year ago. His fastball, since I think when he was in spring training last year, has upticked in velocity. And you can see it. I mean, I saw it in the live BPs, and now he's obviously appeared in Cactus League games. He's got some wicked movement on a lot of these pitches, and it's somebody they're really, really high on. It's on my to-do list to talk to him. I've got some notes written down and some things I want to talk to him about. But what we do know is they're really high on him. He's obviously very highly touted. He's also young, and we'll see. I mean, he's obviously been very impressive so far. When he was throwing the live BPs back there, it did hop into my mind earlier in spring training of, if this guy really impresses, what's to say that he couldn't either grab a spot somewhere on this roster or be a part of the equation at least fairly early in the year, or certainly at some point of the season. He is somebody who went to Double-A San Antonio last year, so he's already at Double-A, and we shall see. But no doubt, Ben, somebody they're high on, somebody that's talented, somebody that physically has grown quite a bit, and his velocity is uptick. So everything is pointing up in the direction of Jairo Iriarte. I think maybe it's probably a little far-fetched that he would be an option on your opening day roster, but crazier things have happened. And if we're learning anything this spring, it's that the Padres do seem very ready to move a lot of these relatively young prospects up. So we shall see, but somebody they're very, very high on, no doubt. And on my to-do list to sit with him and talk to him about some stuff.
Sammy, any buzz out there about a 6'5" left-handed pitcher, Javian Sandridge? I've seen a couple people tweeting about him. His line's been pretty impressive. 2 games, 2 innings, 5 Ks. So it's a big, tall lefty. I've seen, like I said, a couple people tweeting about him. I went and looked him up this morning, and they signed him to a minor league contract back in November. Kind of went under the radar. Well, I guess he was with the Chihuahuas last year. Okay. It, just kind of an under-the-radar guy, but like I said, I'm seeing a little buzz about him.
Yeah, it's funny you ask about him. I talked to him today for a little bit, and I'll tell you what, he's, a tall, big left-hander, number one, and he's somebody who has a really fascinating story. He made me realize something today that I never knew, and that is that there is apparently an NCAA rule that you can go – there are cases where you can go pitch in college after pitching at the professional level. And I want to make sure I get this right on Sandridge. So just let me pull up my notes on him real quick. Hold on. This is live radio.
No worries, man. You're on the right show.
Let me pull up my notes so I make sure that I tell the story accurately.
I did see this though as well. Yeah, he went back to college after going to the pros, which is very unusual.
Right. So the interesting story with Sandridge. Okay, I was talking to him today. Drafted out of high school by the Orioles, spent a couple of years in that system. Then he ends up getting released by the Orioles in May of 2020 due to COVID cuts. So then he actually ended up going back to school to Division II Lynn University in Florida. Didn't even get approved to play until a few weeks into the college baseball season. They approved him to play, ends up playing there. He's on his way to play summer ball, and then gets a call that he's been signed by the Reds in the summer of 2021. So he's a pretty interesting story. He's obviously still very young, and I'll tell you this, because I looked it up a little bit last night. I mean, a lot of his numbers in the minor leagues have been pretty good. So he's somebody to keep an eye on, right? I mean, I don't know that he's, grabbing a spot in the bullpen from the outset here, but as we know, of course, and we've talked about it, you need guys to come out up throughout a season. Absolutely. So he's somebody to keep in mind. And like I said, a very interesting, very unusual story. And obviously the Cactus League performance so far has been good.
Yeah, very good.
Sammy, appreciate it as always. Have a great weekend. And then your final full week in Peoria coming up. And
buddy.
The finish line is ahead. Thank you, Sammy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Sammy Spring Training, Sam Levitt joining us in all of his appearances. Presented by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Keep in mind as well, when it comes to a guy like Sandridge, with options who can come up and down, Padres need guys like that. Yeah, big time. With Iriarte, one big difference between him and, say, Robbie Snelling or Drew Thorpe, both guys, all with Double-A experience last year, Iriarte is already on the 40-man roster. They had to put him there to protect him from the Rule 5 draft. Yep. That gives the Padres a little more flexibility. If they wanted to use Iriarte early in the season, they don't have to take someone else off a 40-man roster. If they wanted Snelling up, then they're going to have to drop someone off somewhere. So Iriarte has just a slight built-in advantage. It may be why we're seeing him get maybe just a slightly bigger opportunity, and he's been running with it so far at spring training for the Padres.
Yeah. The other guy that's interesting to me is the guy that we acquired from the Cubs, Jeremiah Estrada. He has also looked good this spring. So there's a bevy of young arms down there that I'm excited about. But
I think bevy is a good word.
Bevy's a great word.
Bevy.
It's going to be fun to see who makes this squad. It just is, and I know that there's a massive want for additional players, and I'm right there with you guys. But I'm excited about what is to come.
Paul Reindl has a bevy of stories to get to in the Reindl Report. Well, 3. I don't know if 3 is a bevy.
I think so. No, maybe not.
There's a couple
Bevy's
is 2.
Probably more.
Like a few is 3. A bevy is probably
it's 6.
More. We'll be short of a bevy, but we will have Paul in the Reindl Report. Something about Willy Wonka that I'm interested in.
Unreal.
Coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan. haven't decided yet. You might want to.
I think we should talk about it now.
We don't have to talk about it now.
We can.
I mean, I haven't taken. I have not taken any vacation yet this year.
Yep, that's true. Very
I had
good.
sick day last week, but that's
Yeah.
not vacation.
It was definitely not a vacation.
You're taking a day off next week.
Next week. I'll be off.
Before I've taken.
I'll be
one.
off one day.
In fact, this is your second vacation this year, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it is.
Doesn't sound like me.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you, but I've got my first one planned now in late April.
So you just hit us with the 2 days you're going to be out.
Yeah.
A Thursday and a Friday.
Yeah.
In April. And then you said I also might need to leave 30 minutes early.
Depends on whether I'm driving or flying.
Well, you said you were driving to Vegas.
Yeah, but
Fly.
if I'm flying, I may still need to leave early depending on when the flight leaves.
Why don't you book your flight for noon, and then you don't have to?
I don't get to pick when the flights leave. They don't.
You literally
they
have,
leave when they leave.
They don't just, that when you book a flight, they don't call you and say, you're leaving at 10.
Yeah, but if
You
I'm
get to
supposed to
choose.
be
You get to
there,
pick.
if I'm
There's
supposed
a lot
to
of
be
flights
there
out
by
of
like
San Diego.
4,
Right.
I have to leave at a flight that gets me there in time.
It's
So-
a 1 hour flight.
Right.
So if you left at noon, you'd be there by 1.
If there is a noon flight, I haven't even checked yet. What if there's like a 11 a.m. flight and then not one until 3:30?
That
I'd
does
have to
not
go on
gonna
the
happen.
11 a.m. flight.
It's not going to happen.
And so I might have to leave a little early.
Why would you, a grown 48-year-old man, choose to drive to Las Vegas when you can get on a flight for $69?
Well, Scott wanted to leave his clubs. He's coming to town this month. He was going to leave the clubs so I could transport them all in
your
my
car.
as opposed to flying now with 2 sets of golf clubs, which is not great flying. I mean,
not.
it depends on how much time it's going to save me or not.
That drive is.
You don't like that one, but if I'm
it's-
going on a Wednesday during the day, I don't think it would be that bad. And then driving back on possibly Saturday night when everyone's in Vegas and no one's driving on Saturday
I'm an
night.
adult.
Though.
Never.
You just got to pick the right times.
I'm never doing
don't,
it. Never.
Yeah, don't come back on Sunday afternoon at like 12 o'clock checkout time. Yes, the drive back toward Los Angeles and San Diego is going to be a nightmare if you go then. So you can't do that. And you're driving Friday afternoon from San Diego to Vegas. Yes, it's going to be horrific, but Wednesday morning might not be so bad. That's why I haven't decided completely yet.
All right.
Rindle Report. Let's get to it. Headlines.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Happy Friday, gentlemen.
Happy Friday, Paulie.
All right, we will start off a little college basketball news. Yesterday, Caitlin Clark announced on her social media accounts that she will be finishing her college career after this season and heading to the WNBA draft. She could come back to Iowa with the 5th year COVID year rule, but she wants to just make that jump.
Sure.
She's already scored more points than anybody in the history of women's college basketball. My guess is
safe pick.
You probably can go pro and expect to be the number 1 overall pick.
I saw Darren Ravel getting dragged.
Just got crushed yesterday.
Because he alluded to her NIL money and all of the sponsorships that she has received this year and in the years past, and she is by far the face of women's college basketball right now. And he said
Women's basketball actually entirely. She may be more popular than any
certainly
WNBA
most
player.
WNBA players. And he said something like, translation to the headline of her leaving college, taking a $750,000 pay cut or something like that. She's been making about $800,000 in NIL money, and the minimum salary in the WNBA is much less. It's a fraction of that. And everyone's like, bro, she's going to get plenty of endorsements still as a WNBA star.
She's not going to give up her endorsements when she becomes a pro. That's not how endorsements work.
Right.
Yeah. When you become a pro, you usually even get more endorsements.
He got killed. I mean, he got community noted yesterday on Twitter. I mean, that's when you know that you are dead. He got absolutely crushed. I think for good reason.
Now,
It's a weird cat, man.
who knows their geography here in the United States? Is Indiana close to Iowa?
Yes.
Okay, well, guess who has the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft? It's the Indiana Fever. So
There you go.
she could be staying right very close to home.
It's a no-brainer for them. First pick, and will be the face of that franchise certainly, and potentially the entire league.
I believe those states actually border each other.
Touch each other. Yeah.
Touchy.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna move on to a story here that Ben has been.
All right.
How long has it been?
Well,
that he's
so
been
hold on.
This is a very good transition from the story you just told to this story.
So picture I'm dehydrated. I've just thrown up, and we're in the car on the drive home. I'm in the back seat, and it's bouncing up and down. These guys are talking about every menu item they've ever tried, ever. And all I'm trying to do is focus on not throwing up in this beautiful loaner car from Manny Sedano Ford. And I'm laying back there, and Ben turns his head. He goes, I've got a great story. And I go, oh, yeah? What is it? And you laid it on me, and all I heard was, bop, 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 bop. I was like, oh, yeah, all right, sounds good. And then this morning he said, I want to do this story so badly. So I wasn't ignoring you. I just felt like ass.
I know.
That's why.
I know.
So I want you to explain it again and why you're so high
Colin,
on
you
this.
want me to do it, or do you want to do it?
I'll set it
Okay,
up
you
and
set
let
it
you
up,
explain.
and
'Cause
then-
I'm still sifting through this story as well, but you sent it over from Yahoo Sports, and it's a story about something that the Professional Women's Hockey League, the PWHL, is doing.
Okay,
But it-
PWHL.
But it has to do with drafts, draft lotteries, and I think the story here is, could this be something that the NFL, the NBA, MLB could possibly adopt? So they announced a new draft format this week where basically, so it says the team that wins the most after being eliminated from the playoffs will get the best pick. So traditionally, the draft lottery works that the team that finishes in dead last has the highest odds of getting the number 1 draft pick. Right?
That's how it's traditionally worked.
So now, let's say there's 16 teams in the league, top 8 make the playoffs. Once you are eliminated from playoff contention, it's like the clock then starts running.
You're in a
for
new
you.
competition now. You're
And
now
you want to
going
then-
for the number 1
You're not
pick in the draft.
tanking
You're not
for the
tanking.
last
But instead of
pick.
trying to lose to get that pick, you are
try
trying
to
to win.
So you will
get
not
that
win
pick.
and make the playoffs by some miracle. You
Now-
have been eliminated, but if you then can rally and continue to compete and actually win some games and finish with the best record of all
Of
the
the
eliminated
leftovers.
teams,
So this is
you'll get the first pick.
I found this intriguing. It's called the Gold Plan. It was proposed by statistician Adam Gold at the Sloan Analytics Conference more than 10 years ago. Can we all acknowledge that pretty much every professional sport has a tanking problem now?
100%.
Yeah.
Whether or not you have a draft lottery, teams will go, I don't care. I just want the best odds I can to get the number 1 pick. There's a stud. There's a Wemby coming out. There's no reason to win games when you know you're at the end of the season and you can't make the playoffs. So why would you want to win games? And that's a problem for the league because you're still playing other teams that are fighting for the playoffs and they're going up against teams that don't care. It's not good for fans. So how do you solve that problem other than saying, there's no draft lottery, it's just completely random, but then you end up not the bad teams just stay bad forever. You don't want that. So what is genius, I think, about this plan is that obviously it makes teams continue to try to win at the end of the season, but the worst team, the one that gets eliminated first, will also still have a better chance because they have more games left to try to amass win points. You get 3 points for a win in hockey. So if you get eliminated with 20 games to go, you've got 20 games to start trying to win as many points as possible. Now, a team that gets eliminated on the last day of the season, they don't have a chance to accumulate those points. But if you just go on a 20-game
But at
losing
least
streak
you
at
were
the end of the
competitive
year,
all season long.
Yeah, you were competitive.
You're not going to be rewarded for that. You're going to be punished for that. So you absolutely have to try to win games as hard as possible once you've been eliminated because you want that number 1 pick
It's a good
in
idea.
the draft.
No,
I
it's
think
a good idea, man.
It's a very clever, interesting idea that I think is good for fans, good for leagues and organizations, and ones they should be watching this PWHL closely because if it works for them, why wouldn't baseball and basketball and football implement something like this going forward.
No, it's a good idea. And just as an aside, Illinois is between
Indiana and Iowa. There's all those
Idiots.
I's. They're
Yeah,
so
idiots.
That's why I asked you.
Yeah, you're right. Illinois is right in between them.
It's hard. I get it. It's the Midwest. It's all jumbled together.
I thought Illinois was on the other side in my mind.
I drove to Iowa, and I can't remember
But you're right,
if it was
'cause
from Illinois or Indiana.
You go right through Iowa, then up into Michigan on the left side of Illinois.
You
No.
can go
I don't
up
wanna do
Minnesota.
to Michigan.
You go
up
Minnesota.
No, you go
Michigan
Illinois straight up
to
from
Michigan.
Michigan. No, Indiana too.
But there's Lake Michigan is on the right side of Illinois there because Chicago is in Illinois.
It is.
And on the right of Chicago is the lake. I've been there. You've been there too.
Yeah, I lived there.
And that goes right up to Michigan, Lake Michigan.
Didn't Woods live there? Somebody Jeter says in the chat. Yes, I lived there.
I've never lived there.
There is an entire
so I
state
have an
separating.
excuse.
I lived in Indiana
Why do they all
and
start with
Illinois.
I's?
I don't know. I was not great.
All right, finally, we will move on. If you have not been living under a rock over the last few days, somewhere on social media, somewhere on the internet, you have probably seen something about Willy Wonka and a Willy Wonka
immersive experience. Yeah.
And it's gone completely awry.
That sounds amazing. You go and you get the chocolate river.
Yes.
And
you eat
get
the minty grass.
The gum that turns into a full dinner and
to
everything.
lick the wallpaper.
Oh, yeah.
Sit on the absolutely
The snozberries
terrifying
taste like
boat ride.
snozberries.
It essentially it was not done properly. This is in Glasgow. Glasgow. That's in Scotland. I know
I
that.
have seen it described as Firefest for children.
Firefest for kids.
So the whole idea, I guess, was kind of generated by AI.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about AI over the last, couple of years, and I don't like the direction that we're heading.
I don't either. And if you saw the posters and the website, you'd go, "Oh my God, I've got to get in. I got to get my kid." My wife would have bought 4 tickets to this and dragged my ass there on
Flying
a
to
Saturday.
Scotland.
Like you would not. Maybe let's say it was at Del Mar. Okay. Much like the dinosaur experience I've been to twice in Del Mar. Leaves a little bit to be desired. It's pretty good, but it's in a big warehouse. Can't really turn it into a big jungle, But
It
this
ended up
one
looking like the worst haunted house.
looked like our Airbnb is what it looked like. It's Paulie.
You're playing some video on our stream. I saw like a striped background and a mime of some sort.
They essentially just did like poster boards
They
on the
put
wall.
No effort,
There's
no
none.
resources into this whatsoever, and people were rightly furious. And it's just it went viral, and again, like the.
I mean, it's card tables. It's
all of the promotions made it look like this is going to be
not immersive
fun.
at all.
This is going to be like some experience you'd see in Las Vegas or something. No, it was just like it looks like the worst haunted house with just non-paid actors helping out.
Printed, just like it looks like poster boards on tacked to the wall. Kids walking around. It's bare. I mean, it's bare. It's the bare minimum. By the way, they all these kids. You know what they got for their effort? They got 2 jelly beans. Two jelly beans. 2. Police were called, by the way. People were so incensed.
It's not Willy Wonka and the Jelly Bean Factory. It's Willy Wonka. It's the chocolate
It says
factory.
children were promised a wild ride through Candyland and were given a handful of jelly beans and a quarter cup of lemonade.
Yeah, quarter cup of lemonade. It's a couple of jelly beans, and be on your way.
There's this fantasy bridge they're walking over, which is kind of over a little cardboard chocolate river.
It was
maybe like 6 feet total.
Less than magical is what one parent called it.
It says here, one of the performers spoke to The Independent about playing the role of Willy Wonka for the event. He described the script that he received as 15 pages of AI-generated gibberish.
Yep, just pounded it out on AI, just put it in there, served it up. There was $44 a ticket, so for me and the fam to go, that's what, $166, somewhere around there. Is that right? If my math is correct, $166. Get dragged out there on a Saturday, 2 jelly beans apiece. There was a half-inflated bouncy house out there. There was also, at one point, I showed my kids this last night, there was a guy that was like a murderer's zombie that came out from behind a mirror that was like, with a painted
I don't
silver
remember
face.
that.
I don't either.
I don't remember that in the book or the movie.
We are in the process right now. I do a chapter a night with Bo and Taylor reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I showed them this last night. They died.
We also learned this morning, though,
Oh, yeah.
that our very own Paul Reindl is directly related somehow to Grandpa Joe from the original movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Grandpa
Factory.
Joe, that sack of S.
Yeah, just laying in bed all
laying
day.
in a bed with 3 other elderly people.
It's the most disgusting.
I can smell those scenes when that movie is on.
Charlie has to get up delivering papers at 4 a.m. for a nickel.
Just to get some cabbage water.
Cabbage soup.
And bread.
And you know that
We're gonna really treat ourselves with this loaf of bread.
There's cabbage juice all over
and then all of a sudden
that
the
bed.
golden ticket arrives and Grandpa Joe's like, "Hello, my baby. Hello, my
Jumps out of
baby."
bed like, "Hey man, couldn't you have
I got
been
a golden ticket?
Couldn't you have been if you have this much energy? Couldn't you have been helping
Doing
us
somersaults
the entire way?" He just lays his ass in the
Grandpa
bed.
Joe sucks.
All right, so how are you related?
The actor that played Grandpa Joe
In the original
1970s movie.
Yep.
That one is Charlie and the Chocolate
Charlie and
Factory?
the
Willy
Chocolate
Wonka.
or Willy
Chocolate
Wonka. I
Factory.
thought it was Charlie and the Chocolate.
No, that was the Johnny Depp one. Later.
I get them confused. So his name is Jack Albertson, and my
Shout out to his family. I've just got to imagine at this point.
Yeah, he's got
shout out to his family. Shout out to me.
Right, that's right. Paulie is his family.
So Jack Albertson was his name. My father's mother, my grandmother on my father's side, her maiden name is Albertson. So she was directly related to him, and so yeah.
And you're sure?
Do you also
No.
own a supermarket?
You're not
chain?
sure you share the same name?
I mean, I haven't done the 23andMe, but
Well, like my last name's Woods. I think I'm related to Tiger Woods.
Jack Albertson.
Paul Reindl.
I didn't ask
No,
him.
they've gone further than just the same name. I mean, you're
He was
not
born in
related.
1907. He died in 1981, 9 years before I was born. So I didn't have a chance to confirm with him that we are in fact related. I'm just going off of the.
There's
The
family trees,
family
though.
lore.
There's-
Is it a family story that is shared?
Yeah, I was told, before my dad walked out when I was 11. It'd be a weird thing to lie about.
Back to back. Would it be though?
The actor who played Grandpa Joe. It's not like you said.
It's not the biggest flex ever.
So if I recall, my grandfather's last name was Parker, and Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie
Parker. I have heard. I've never done the 23andMe either. I think he spun that yarn that he was related to Bonnie Parker. Down south,
Again, Bonnie and Clyde,
potential.
like that's a cool lie. Even if it
Megan
was a
says she
lie.
doesn't think it's real. He's Albertson. I'm Albertson. We must be related.
Turns out you're actually related to Grandma Josephine.
I mean, I'd rather be related to like the guy that came up with Albertson's grocery store.
100%. Get that Albertsons money.
Right.
Will you please, can you do a 23andMe? Because I'd like to know. Would you?
Does that actually determine anything? If he didn't do one, though,
Like a family tree.
you need like genealogists to do research and go back, family history, records, go to the library,
Yeah, would a
things like that.
23andMe work?
That will give you
If
like your
one of
genetic
his-
background.
But his relatives can do it, and they're related, and Paul's connected to them. I think it does work.
well, I
yeah,
mean,
that works.
You're going to have to find direct descendants of Jack Albertson, the actor.
Right.
And then if they did a 23,
Ancestry.com.
and then find out, they do research like that, I think.
Do it, and then just expense it. And Adam said he'll be
Which
happy
is all
to pay
just putting
for it.
you into the
content.
giant database so they can keep track on you for the rest of your life.
Right.
So.
Like
Yeah.
they don't
I'm not a
already
conspiracy
they
theorist,
don't
but
already do that for
that
your
one-
phones and stuff.
Yeah.
Again, it's
Why
not-
not just have your DNA taken?
Megan says she must be related to Rich Gannon because her last name is Gannon.
Maybe you never know. I
No
believe
wonder
that.
her football takes are so
Again,
spot on.
It's an old family myth.
I'm defending the dad I haven't spoken to in years, but it's not like he said, "Yeah, your grandmother's maiden name was Ruth. You're related to Babe Ruth."
Polly, he can't hurt you anymore. Okay, he can't. You've made that decision. He cannot hurt you anymore. Megan, Rich Gannon.
All right, good job, Paulie. We're a little bit late. We'll take a time out. When we come back, we have one more Padres spring training ticket package to give away. Chance to qualify for the flyaway hotel stay vacation in the next couple of weeks to Peoria, Arizona. And I want to answer one of the questions we got in the chat about Peoria, Arizona as well. Coming up next after a check of traffic, Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Tower Bennett Woods is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. About to give away some 2 more tickets to Peoria Sports Complex baseball, spring training, and a possible chance to win the flyaway trip. Saw in our chat, Goosenator going to spring training. He said, "Hey, Bennett Woods, what are some cool things to do while I'm here in Peoria with my 9-year-old other than explicit?" And
I wouldn't go there.
The tough answer is there's not a ton
Sure
to do.
there is.
There's that indoor adventure park.
Well, so there's that one.
That's right by this Peoria Sports Complex. I haven't been in there.
I have. I took both.
You
there.
did go in
Yeah,
there.
it was
Okay.
fun as hell.
That was fun?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was really cool. And then we just saw the one when we went to
Bring your own Lysol.
Bring your own Lysol, for sure. Hand wipes, for sure. But we just went to that place for lunch. What's it called? Chompy's?
Oh, that's right. The arcade and bowling alley was there in the Arrowhead Mall.
Arrowhead Mall. It's really close to the facility as well. There's a delicious deli that we murdered 2 days in a row. But right next to that is this big-ass arcade/bowling alley. So you're not gonna. There's no shortage of things to eat and do in Peoria. There's also a Top Golf that's pretty close. I don't know if a 9-year-old would be into that. Explicit's. I mean, it's there. I don't know if they'll let them in. But you can leave them in the car and go for a while.
There's lots of malls, if they like malls, and movie
I
theaters.
think it's balls.
No, malls.
I thought
I heard balls.
I took I think my son was 9 the first time I took him. We went together. And they're very excited to go to the backfields and see it, but only for like 8 minutes, and then they get kind of bored with it, and they want to go back to the hotel pool. The problem is that the hotel pools in Peoria are not great.
No.
They're just basically sitting in the parking lot with a iron grated fence around them and a couple of lounge chairs. They're not the resort lazy river wave machine type pools that you'd kind of like on vacation.
No, it's not. My son last year when we brought him to spring training for, he showed up for a couple hours to hang with us with my wife, and after about an hour he's like, I go, "What?" And he goes, "I'm bored." And I go, "You just met Manny Machado. You just met Juan Soto. You just met Josh Hader. You just got dapped up by Joe Musgrove. And Crony's coming by." And I start listing, and he goes, "Yeah, I want waffles. And I want to go back to the hotel and get waffles." And I go, "Can you give me, I need to finish my job. And I want to go to the backfields for a minute." We go to the backfields. Crony's taking grounders at first. "Hey, Bo," throws him a ball. And he's like, "Cool. All right, about those waffles." I was like, "You little turd." Dude.
To be completely fair, we were just there. We got to talk to people like Manny Machado and Joe Musgrove. After the show, we'd go out to the backfields, and after about 45 minutes, we're going, "Yeah, you want to go get lunch?"
We were hungry.
Hungry.
He was too, I guess.
Go get lunch. So we just leave, and it's like we were right there. We got to go on the field. We were standing there. It was very cool. And eventually, after about 45 minutes ago, "You want to go get lunch? Let's go get lunch."
Paulie photoshopped himself standing next to his allegedly his great-great-grandpa. Grandpa Joe. It's on our Twitter.
There is a bit of a resemblance.
There is a resemblance. I can see it.
There's some forehead similarity. Take off your hat. I think you've got Grandpa Joe forehead there. I mean, if your eyebrows were just a little whiter and bushier and you grew that mustache out a little bit more, I can see it. I can see the resemblance, actually.
Yeah, I can see it too.
Ancestry.com.
Yeah, I'd like you to do it, though.
Jack
I told Megan
Albertson,
to do it.
Paulie's great uncle or whoever.
Grandpa, maybe.
Might be. I see that.
I can see it too.
All right, it's time to give away a pair of tickets to see your home team in a spring training game at the Peoria Sports Complex and qualify for the last time, I believe, for the grand prize flyaway trip for 2, including spring training tickets, a Southwest gift card, and a one-night hotel stay made possible by the Peoria Sports Complex. Visit PeoriaBaseball.com. Be the fourth caller right now, 833-288-0973. Fourth caller, 833-288-0973. We'll get you the tickets and put you into the grand prize drawing, which I would assume you'll get the news in the next couple of days.
You're going to be flying out soon.
Yeah, there's only a couple week and a half left of spring training. So it's an impromptu trip, as it were. Probably next weekend would be my guess if you do win. So call now, 833-288-0973. Come back, wrap things up, finish a very epic week. Just review everything we did this week.
I just ran out of gas just now.
on the Bennett Woods program on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Congratulations to Julian. Wins our final pair of tickets to the Peoria Sports Complex and gets his name into the drawing coming up momentarily, for the flyaway to Arizona to catch a spring training game coming up. And, we had a great week here, Woods. It was a long week, but it was a really good week.
Yeah, I had a great time. I always have fun out at spring training talking to the guys. I think it went really, really well. Some fun content, too, just some interesting stories that happened out there. It's never a dull moment. I wonder, do I want a dull spring training trip where we drive out, no problem, don't almost die on the way as we did. Almost got hit by a car.
Wrong way driver on the 85.
Wrong way
highway.
Driver on the highway. And then, are we ever going to have a normal check-in to a nice Airbnb? Everything runs smoothly. I will say, from the minute we set foot on the complex, everything went great. I mean, couldn't have gone better.
Oh, yeah. Best trip ever when it came to the content and everything that we did while we were there.
And there's a couple of guys,
other than not bringing a pop-up tent, which Adam told us we should have done and we didn't.
And we will next year for sure. There's a couple of guys I feel like we left a little bit on the table. We didn't get a chance to sit down with Fernando, which we will try to do this year certainly. And Xander would have been another one. I was actually rehearsing in my mind the question I was going to ask Xander Bogaerts. Hey, would you like to talk about your move to second base, Xander? Because he's been inundated with that question, and it's kind of gone away as he's played out there a little bit.
I'm fine not talking to Xander right now because he is a fine individual and he's a good interview. I like Xander Bogaerts a lot.
He is.
He was great when we had him on last year. He was talking about he was waiting for us to ask him the hard questions like they prepped him for in Boston with Boston sports. We're like, dude, no, we aren't. That's not us.
We're gonna have some fun.
He's a fun interview, but it's like, man, with this position change, I don't want to take away from your preparation even one small bit.
Yeah, just let him do his thing.
Go do your thing, man. We'll talk to you
So
later.
I want you both to answer this question after our traffic check. Professional highlight of the week, personal highlight of the week for you. I'll go first just to get us started right after our last check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Freeways in the greater part of San Diego are winding down pretty nicely, guys. We're not showing any incidents or accidents. Been talking about this one all morning, though, and I'm going to mention it one more time. All lanes shut down northbound 15 at Rainbow Valley. All due to investigation of a fatal accident involving 5 or 6 vehicles happened around 4:45 this morning, so traffic is still squeezing by on the right shoulder. This got you pretty much on the brakes from the 76, and on the southbound side, they get that left lane blocked, so it's almost as bad heading southbound. If you are heading in or out of the Riverside area, do keep that in mind in your travels. I'm not sure when they're going to be reopening that, but give yourself extra time either direction. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So for me, and this is the easy answer, but professional highlight this week was sitting down with Manny Machado and getting that kind of interview with him. And I'm not going to give us credit for it. It was all Manny wanting to be a little bit more forthcoming than maybe he's been in previous interviews, a little more candid, a little more vulnerable, the word of the week with Jake Cronenworth, and kind of addressing things without us even bringing them up, really, just addressing what happened last year and, getting into this season and what's been going on in Peoria. Thought Manny was outstanding. Felt really excited for our audience, especially with that interview with Manny Machado. I thought it was great. I know that's the easy answer, but it really did stand out for me during our trip.
Sure. Yeah, I think that would probably be mine as well. I loved them all. I really did. I thought all the guys did a really, really great job. Paulie did a great job making sure everything got sent out, and the quality of the work. I think I was very, very proud of.
Under the radar, getting to know a couple of the guys that we hadn't. Jose Azocar, Brett Sullivan was a big one. Stephen Wilson, that was fun. There were a lot of
amazing,
really good conversations with guys that we really hadn't had a chance to get to know. But
was it Stephen Wilson or Cosgrove or King? One of them. They just started showing us all their different grips on a baseball.
That was Wilson. That was Stephen Wilson.
Stephen Wilson.
Yeah.
I was like, I could sit there and just watch that for hours.
Yeah,
I loved
killer.
Personally, and I don't know, this is half professional and half personal, but getting to have dinner in a casual setting with the manager of the Padres and getting to pick his brain, letting him pick our brain a little bit, establishing a relationship early on in his tenure, and kind of just understanding where he's coming from. Not not because we don't want to or going to have to criticize him at some point. We are. We told him, of course we are. There's going to be, it's part of our job. There's going to be some critiques and criticism, and you won't agree with it always. But to have that understanding kind of from the outset was something that I've never really had before, and I thought it was incredibly fun and valuable and a good experience to sit down with Mike Schilt that way.
Yeah, no question.
Professional.
That's professional.
That's definitely professional.
Yeah.
Well, then personal, having you, Darvish, wear a Ben Wood shirt.
I think that's also professional.
Was kind of cool.
But that was very cool.
Well.
I mine is the quality of the work, and then I'm excited, man. T-ball starts tomorrow. That's the personal side, getting everything dialed in and getting all the kids ready. We got to practice tonight. I love coaching. I do. I love it. To help these kids, fall in love with the game of baseball is just my favorite thing to do. And I forget just how exhausted I am after every T-ball practice. It is cat wrangling at its finest. And I have a lot of passion out there, and because I'm very passionate about the game, and I love these kids. I got a great team.
You're at that stage where weekends can sometimes be even more exhausting than the week.
This weekend's going to be gnarly, but I'm so into it.
You get another game on Sunday?
Yeah, so
Tier 1 game?
Oh yeah, so I wanted to let you guys know we do have a Tier 1 game. It is at Vista Sports Park, and it's going to be at 9 a.m. on Sunday. Vista Sports Park. If we win, donate $100 to the Peter Seidler Foundation. Tier 1s need to get back on track. Lost last week. And
what are the odds makers saying about this one?
I think the team we're playing, we're both 1-1, and I think we both lost last weekend. So one of our Tier 1s, Hunter, is often in the chat. Hunter Smith, this is his team, so we'll be playing those guys. 9 a.m. at Vista Sports Park. Be running it back again. I got a Seals game Saturday. You're going to want to be at that game if you want to see Ben Higgins play goalie. That's what I can say. SealsLax.com. Get your tickets. You will be in goal at halftime. Are you nervous?
Yes.
Okay.
I as we get closer to it, I thought, no big deal. There's pads, there's everything. As we get closer, I'm starting to feel kind of queasy about the whole thing.
Which that's what makes for great content.
But what if I get hurt? I don't want to get hurt.
You're
I know
not
there's a lot of
going to
pads,
get
but
hurt.
the ball where's the ball?
Here.
It's very, this thing is hard.
You want me to throw it at you and see how it feels?
No, I don't have any pads on.
So you'll have pads on.
But I feel like it might hurt even with the pads on.
No, it's not going to hurt with pads on. They're very
What are like
thick.
arms? You have arm pads all the way down?
All the way down. These guys.
What if it hits me like right in the wrist?
Well, now the only thing I'm worried about is your boys. But if you get a cup, if you come out there without a cup, that's on you.
That's on me. I'll get a cup. But this doing that just hurts. And that's 1 mile an hour, and they can fire it in
again
pretty fast.
It's not going to be Westberg and Dane Dobie.
I get
out
that.
There. It's going to be a Tier 1.
I get that.
Yeah, it's going to be a Tier 1
those
or
sticks,
2.
There's a lot of
Paulie might take a crack.
There's a lot of angular velocity coming off of those sticks, and I'm just starting to get a little nervous because this is hard.
It is hard.
This is not a tennis ball.
No.
Can we do it with tennis balls? Can we do it with foam balls?
Nope.
We have to do it with real lacrosse balls.
Real balls, the whole deal.
Like, is there pads everywhere though?
Yeah, you'll be padded up.
I know that'll be padded up, but what about the forearm? Could
Charisma said
my forearm.
For funsies, you should have Westberg take a shot. No. That might kill you. Yeah, you're going to look like Dorn from Major League when it's all done.
I hope if they're really professionals, they'd be good enough that they could hit the goal and not me.
That's true. That is true. Hey, I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't flinch. Stand in there.
I'm a
Stand
flincher.
on your head.
I'm going to turn around and the back will be facing. Is there pads on the back for the guy who flinches and turns around when the ball's coming at him? No. That's the problem.
Don't flinch.
I can't not flinch. You know me.
No.
I can't not
flinch.
Got you.
You
are 7 feet away.
You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I think you're going to look good. I think you're going to look like
Do they have emergency medical personnel standing by?
There's EMT there. Don't dome yourself out about it.
Starting to get worried.
Just embrace it. You're going to be great.
I wasn't nervous yesterday. Why is today now I'm nervous about this?
Now, I'll be honest with you. When you were 40 or 50 pounds heavier, you might have been better.
It's more padding.
It's more padding. You're thin and lean now. You're like our goalie, Chris Origlieri. He's very thin and athletic and lean. So
can I have? Is there
fine.
like a shield that you can have, like a
big stick?
Like they have like riot gear.
I think
where
they
have
wear
that
a glove.
big, giant like
Riot gear.
plexiglass shield
You're
that
gonna
you
be
just
great.
put in front of you.
You're going to be great. Yeah, step up, get the angles. You know, if they're coming from this side, move over, turn your body to get the angle.
Or move farther away. To not have the angle.
If you just turn tail and run down the thing, I'm going to lose my mind.
I really wasn't worried until I remembered how
they're hard
these
Oh, yeah.
lacrosse balls are.
Oh, yeah.
They're not. There's no give on these. They're not racket balls. They're not tennis balls. I mean, I can't believe they actually do this. These are dangerous balls. Why would they have a sport with such dangerous balls?
They're awesome.
I mean, these are harder than a baseball.
No.
Oh yeah.
No, these give a little bit. Feel you can
In
push
what?
it. Yeah, they give.
Well, so does a baseball.
You're fine. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. I'm actually jealous, man. I've always wanted to put the gear on, but I gotta work. Otherwise, I would do it because I gotta go work the second half.
You know what? Let's turn this around. I'll grab the microphone. We'll, at the last, like midway through the second quarter, I'll come down, I'll pound on the glass, I'll do everything.
Listen,
we'll put you in the gear and get you out on the ice.
Listen,
or the rink,
you're
or
not
the carpet, or
the
whatever
ice,
it is.
the rink.
There's
the
ice
carpet.
underneath the carpet.
I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but you couldn't do what I do in there. I'm sorry. There's one.
I wouldn't do it as well. But
That's
I
what
could
I'm
do
saying.
it.
No, you could do it.
I know I wouldn't take a ball to the face somehow. There's a big face shield, right? Mask.
Yes,
It's like the
you're
hockey
gonna
mask.
be. You're gonna go. That was awesome.
Does it wrap all the way around like a
Yeah,
helmet?
I bet you're gonna look for rec box lacrosse leagues to play goalie in after this is done. This could be the next thing. You're gonna be great, man. Ben Franco. Yeah, do it.
I don't think I like this.
No,
which is
fine.
unusual for me because I like pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But I don't like this.
Well, we'll see. Let's judge it on Monday.
Well, fine. Well, maybe on Monday we'll have something. I like being
Box
a lacrosse goalie. But I don't think I can say that yet. I can say that about other things, though. Let's wrap up the week. Here we go.
I like good, juicy, sweet strawberries.
I like a good marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh, no, I like it creamy.
I like good, firm banana. I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating.
I like
moist. I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song.
I like Squirt.
I like Saki. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paula Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like Science Experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like brown sugar. I like maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner.
I like going to golf games. I like diving into chores. I like sugar. I do like Butterfinger. I like blue and silver are not bad colors. I like the time change. I like Major League Baseball's new rule. I like the radio. I like geography. I like the knuckle method. I like Skippy. And I like pie. I like Bob Melvin. I really do. I like Jace Tingler, too. I like this day. I like being right. I still do like movie scores. I like good food. I like maps. I like when interviews can turn into organic conversation.
Yeah.
I do like a Stouffer's French bread pizza. I like having the wind go through my hair. I think I like shows that the characters have an arc. I like the full lettuce, tomato, onion experience as well. I like those kind of burgers. I like the big overflowing bag of fries. I like those little Smarties rolls. I liked what I saw from Seth Lugo. I liked his competitive fire. I like walking around between the different lands. Steve Kerr, though, I like that. I like living on the coast. I like watching Tiger still. I like the idea of that matchup. I liked what I saw in the preseason. I like the aloneness sometimes of Texas Hold'em. I like watching San Diego State basketball. I like those cashew-buttered cashews. I like cold, clear sake. I will clarify as well. I like sugar a little more than I did at this time last week after sitting down with him.
Brandon says, I like the idea of Ben going between the pipes and goal.
And, I like Bob Melvin. I like Jace Tingler, too. I like Mike Schultz. I like Mike Schilt after this week. No doubt about it.
So Elisa says, I like Ben watching his I like segments. It really is delightful to watch him like all the things that he likes. It's really great. Really, really great.
I like liking things.
Oh, it's fantastic stuff, man.
All right. I like that we're done for the week. And we
Me
get to
and you
turn
both.
things over to Annie and Elston, who will be coming up next. We will be back on Monday morning at 6 a.m. Final full week of spring training for the Padres, and then it's a little half week, and off to Korea they go for the first two games against the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're getting closer. We have
we're working on
plans.
Working on something a little special
for both opening day in Korea and opening day in San Diego at Petco Park.
That one looks really solid.
Can't announce anything yet, but both should be pretty good if everything comes together
If it all works.
In the next few days. Maybe even an announcement next week. Don't forget, it's Ben and Woods night at the Seals game tomorrow night.
And
come
all children matter.
And all childs
All
matter.
child matter.
All children matter. Children matter night. Paulie Matters did a great job all week long as our executive producer.
MB Paul, baby.
For Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your week, weekend, and whatever else here on 97.3 The Fan.